Pulse rising.
Who will come out on top? Who'll take three lines forward? He's ready to be the star.
The anticipation.
Powerful, strong. Compact. Tyson get right. Hold all the way.
The heart stops. Catch the sports game on Sports Attack Mondays through Fridays, 6:30.
My name is Gianni Infantino, FIFA President. For the best of sports, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Hello, my name is Kanu Wanko, aka Papilo. For the latest and trending sports stories, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Live on your premium talk news and sports radio station, Today 95.1 FM, and it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon to be here with you to delve into what's happening in the world of sports. There is a lot going on in the world of sports. Football, we have the CAF Champions League, CAF Confederations Cup. The MPFL will be returning for another match day today. We also have the English Premier League, the major leagues across Europe. Bayern, well, the invincible season looks to be over for Bayern Munich after they did fall to Augsburg yesterday. And there is other sports on the menu as well. The Australian Open is currently going on. What is happening or going on over there? There is the NBBF. We'll be talking about that on the show. And also Formula One, all the cars, all the constructors, they are releasing their cars for 2026. Some are saying it looks like it's going to be promising. Some are saying new rules, new everything. We don't know what to expect, but it looks nice. I think our car, or we think our car is in the right space or in the right place to actually give us what we want going into the 2026 Formula One season. While you are listening to the voice of Henry Ogugu, and I'm here to drive you through proceedings from now to 3:30 before Benjamin Mina will step in and finish off the remaining part of the show before we get to talk about Nigerian football. And yes, like I did mention, Benjamin will be here, so that gives away who, or at least one person that's in the studio here with me. And let me introduce him just at once. Benjamin, good afternoon. Welcome.
Henry, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to our listener out there. Good afternoon to Osasa, who is very close to me here. The Australia Open, like you said, I was awake to watch the game between Arina Sabalenka and the young lady herself, the prospect. What's her name now? Mboku Victoria. Yeah, it was... It was a blowout. It was a blowout. I was telling us that's why we were coming to the office. I said, yeah, she's a prospect, but she's got a lot to learn. You know, he's got a lot to learn. And the game between Coco Gauff and what's the name now? Was something Coco Gauff took the Mochova. Coco Gauff took the first set. I couldn't watch more than that. And the game between Carlos Alcaraz and Tommy Paul. Carlos Alcaraz was a blowout. 3 sets, straight 3 sets. So it was a blowout. The big boys doing their thing. And for Novak Djokovic, he has moved to the next round because his opponent has just pulled out. You know, so the man is advancing. Whether he plays, whether he gets to hold his racket on the court or not, that's not what matters. What matters is the man moving to the other direction. And then for the wife of Tiafoe, that's Elina Vitolina. That's the wife. Gal Murphy. Yeah, Gal Murphy. Sorry. Thank you for that. She was actually winning the first set against Miriam Andreeva, so I don't know how that one finished. But
she has actually qualified. She's going to be facing Coco Gauff in the quarterfinals of this current Australian Open. So it's Elina Vitolina showing us what she's got up her sleeve, even as age is, yes, just telling us that age is just a number there. She beautifully dispatched her opponent, being Mira Andreeva. And for you to dispatch Mira Andreeva, it's no mean feat, I must tell you, Benjamin.
Definitely. It's no mean feat. It shows that the big guns are actually doing their thing. But one good thing about the Australian Open is it's like the FA Cup, full of surprises. You don't know who is going to beat who. You don't know who is going to be taken or going home. But at the end of the day, this is what the fans of tennis wants. We want to see that surprises, that upset, and then many of the neutrals will be looking at Carlos Alcaraz against Jannik Sinner in the final because they won't be meeting themselves until they get to the final, I think. So it's about quality tennis. That's what we are seeing. Yeah, even if the weather is not friendly over there in Melbourne, quite very hot, very hot. So at some point you see the tennis players wrapping themselves with ice towels that are tied with ice, just to cool them down. But again, just like the weather is hot over there in Australia, we are cool down here with you. So it's going to be a show where at some point you're going to be, we're going to be letting you into conversations. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, great to have you on the show. And I've heard the voice of the other person here with us, and that's not a person. That is Osagi Henry, the demigod in the world of sports. Osas, good afternoon. Great to have you.
Very good afternoon to you, Henry. Good afternoon to Benjamin Mina. Good afternoon to the city of Port Harcourt again. It's time for us to shake things up when it has to do with the world of sports. You've talked a lot already about talking about Benjamin, about tennis. I won't be delving into tennis again to say anything. It's just the Australian Open is there for our taking, it's there for our consumption, it's there for our enjoyment as it stands right now. Beautiful tennis coming all the way from Melbourne right there in Australia. And Henry, you talked about the Formula One season. Yeah, March is not far again. We will see the racetracks again warm up. Yeah, this time it's going to be 24. I think that should be 24 circuits, getting the fever, catching the fever there when it has to do with Formula One. But this time, we will be having 11 constructors coming into the fray, and Cadillac are warming up already. We want to see a lot coming in from Cadillac. It's been a journey for the American side, and we want to see exactly what they've got to offer. S26, what do you have for us? Much was talked about the S25, SF25. I mean SF26. What do you have for us? How much how much of surprise would you have for us this time? I'm talking about the car of Ferrari. I think that's where my eyes want to be, because I want to see what you're giving to Lewis Hamilton this time. Frank Vasseur, he has spoken a lot about the S25, SF25, and he has also spoken a lot about his men Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. So I want to see what Lewis Hamilton would be offering in this particular season. I think the regulations have come in. Would he be the first to pick the positives from these regulations, these regulation changes and policy changes in Formula One? And how well would he want to make use of it to get himself that one drivers' championship? And he can now think of retiring. The same way Novak is also struggling to get that one and maybe retire.
Henry, sorry, quick one. Talking about Novak Djokovic, sorry, not Novak now. What's his name now? Lewis Hamilton. See, I feel it's just a feeling. I feel that this is the season where it's going to be a make or match season for Lewis Hamilton. Because last season we saw how he struggled. He didn't finish where he ought to finish, but at least at some point he made a statement. But coming out at some point to say that today he gets to hear the car is okay. I'm getting used to the car. Tomorrow constructors this, that, and all that. But this season, I think everybody's now going to start racing on a level playing ground. So I feel that this season is that make or match season for Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari, his constructors. I feel that if he doesn't get it right this season, then I don't see any season. I don't see it coming again. Talking about Lewis Hamilton winning that drivers' championship.
Okay, well, we do have the few platforms for you to be a part of the show. Air your thoughts on everything we are going to discuss with Hamilton, Formula One, people releasing their new cars for this new season, Australian Open, we're talking about the NBF and the Tigers, and we will be talking about everything that did go down across the major leagues in Europe. Yes, there are some other topical discussions out regards football. On YouTube, we are live at Today95.1fm, at Today95.1fm. On Facebook, we are Today95.1 FM, at Today95.1 FM. On Instagram, we are Today FM 951 at Today FM 951. On X, we are Today FM 951 as well at Today FM 951. And you can as well listen to us live via our website. Yes, that is audio only, and that's at www.todayfmlive.com, www.todayfmlive.com. Just click listen live, and you will get to listen to us audio only. And for the other feedback platforms, the one you were usually used to, for the SMS and WhatsApp portal, the number is 0701-933-9962, 0701-933-9962. Send your thoughts there and we will take them during the show. And for the phone line, number is 0810-951-0951, 0810-951-0951. So, ladies and gentlemen, on this note, take a seat, fasten your seatbelts, and let's get the show on the road. Well, we'll be starting things off from the NBBF, where stakeholders in the country's basketball have agreed to hold a congress to decide when to hold the Nigerian Basketball Federation board elections. Now, the elections, as agreed by stakeholders at a meeting chaired by the Director General of the National Sports Commission, Bola Olokbade, will be held on any date before March 31st, 2026. Now, according to a source at the meeting, the parley resolved the conflict among the current board members and other stakeholders, with everybody agreeing to work to ensure free and fair elections. Now, the source said that stakeholders agreed to adopt the existing constitutions and the electoral guidelines in conducting the polls, adding that all eligible stakeholders interested in contesting for any position would be allowed to test their popularity among the electorate. Now, this was also revealed that the NSC has proposed a retreat involving all federations to renew the federation's commitment to uplifting Nigerian sports as directed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And also speaking on the matter as well as Mark Iguche, as he is a prominent figure in Nigerian basketball, and he has praised Honorable Bukola Olopade, the Director General of the National Sports Commission, for his decisive action in addressing the ongoing crisis within the country's basketball community. In a statement, Mark, a basketball promoter and founder of the Mark the Ball Basketball Championship, lauded Olopade's initiative to convene basketball stakeholders nationwide, describing it as the right move from a right-thinking leader. Right move from right-thinking leader who is ready to confront the impediments, a path that others have avoided. For this, I salute the DG's thoughtfulness. This is a masterclass in sports administration. Unity is lacking among stakeholders, and it's time we transition from disunity to unity for the common interest of the sports. The DG's approach is a good starting point. We need to put aside our differences and work towards a common goal for the development of Nigerian basketball. Let's give the DG our full support and cooperation, and we owe it to ourselves, our players, and the future of Nigerian basketball. Now, Sas, I'll come over to you now. The NBBF has been one point or one place whereby there's been a lot of issues going on over the years. It's almost a decade-long saga back and forth. But in a way, Musa Kida was always involved, or always in the middle, one way or the other. We all remember the Tijani Umar-led board and the Musa Kida-led board. And now we're in a situation whereby the NBBF, no elections were held when other federations actually had their elections, and factions, stakeholders fighting, all for the basis of control and power, some would say. But I mean, are we at a point where we're looking at the crisis and saying we're coming to the end of this crisis?
I think, we could say we're coming to the end of this crisis, since both parties have decided to shield their sword and come to a round table to ensure that they fix every grievances and they fix everything abnormal to make sure that basketball continues to grow in Nigeria. Musa Kida has been around the corners of the Nigerian Basketball Federation for quite a long time now. The Nigerian Basketball Federation has also gone through a lot. Remember that there was that suspension of Nigerian basketball national team due to the same election crisis between Tijani Umar on one side and Musa Kida on the other end, and that did take a lot from us when it had to do with basketball. I think that was even from that point, Nigeria's the Tigers started having their downward spiral and were not able to grow as ought or as required. And here it is again. Remember last year, every federation, that was towards the midpoint or end part of last year, every federation had to go through their elections, and it did come out peacefully as well as positively, though we still had some complaints one here and there, where so many talk about the involvement of the National Sports Commission led by Madam Shehu Diko in the elections of the various federations. But everything came smoothly and went on as required and as expected, and it's just for the Nigerian Basketball Federation right now going back and forth. And when you continue to elongate issues, you might get for yourself or draw to yourself suspensions and bans. And when these suspensions and bans come, it tends to liquidate any solidity you have in the world of basketball. Talking about on the national scene, our national teams, and even on the club side scenes. Remember that we're going to be having what's it called? The Lagos team that beat Rivers Hoopers in the finals of the Nigerian Basketball League. Lagos Legends. Yes, they will be going.
It has actually changed because they were actually bought by another basketball entity.
Yeah, that's after winning the Nigerian Basketball League. Obviously, they now had lots of investors. But before then, it was Lagos Legends, and they will be out there representing Nigeria at the incoming Basketball African League. Yeah, so it's going to, if these things are not corrected now, it will definitely affect what Lagos Legends, that's the former name, whatever they will be doing out there on the continental scene. It will also affect the Tigers. It will affect the Tigers, the Marktown Flyers, the new name right now, but formerly Lagos Legend. Yeah, so it's going to affect them if these things are not put into place. And I think it's a laudable initiative right now to say that both erring and warring parties have decided that they would just rest of their horses, keep down their battle instruments and look forward to a better future for Nigerian basketball under the umbrella of the Nigerian Basketball Federation. So I think it's the right direction, it's the right decision at this point. Let's see what happens if they can finally get the elections done and dusted without any interference, because where it get back to phase 1 or level 1 is if it's not seen that there is an interference again. So everything will just go back or roll back to where it all started from. But for now, let's be positive and look at what's to come in the future.
Okay, well, now, Bukola Olopade, still sticking with you. Bukola Olopade now. I mean, he and the Shehu Diko led NSC. I mean, do you think they've actually done a fantastic job? I know we've talked about this in the past when it comes to managing all these crises or situations, because we're at the point whereby in Nigerian sports for the past 2 years or thereabouts, or since they came into power or control of sports, we haven't had this sort of issues again. And even when they have crept up, like we're seeing now with basketball, they have found a way to manage the situation and play around it to get a compromise, and everybody looks happy. Do you think they've covered themselves in glory as regards that aspect and as regards how they've run our sports so far?
Yeah, I think they have. I want to say, in as much as everyone will want to disagree with me, yeah, they are just a figment of a damaged system in sports. But I won't want to rub it on Madam Shehu Diko and the Bukola Olopade-led National Sports Commission. They've really done a very, very good job, most especially when it has to do with resolving conflicts. We have seen it in many other federations. In the Table Tennis Federation, they came through also, found a way to resolve it. And the most glaring and the most recent of them all is even in the Nigerian Football Federation. We saw of recent, during the period where Nigeria had to take on Gabon, we had issues of that did arise, most likely between the Nigerian Football Federation and the players when it has to do with payment of their bonuses. And Shehu Diko had to step in. The NSC had to step in to ensure that it did not go or have itself blown out of proportion. We saw again in the African Cup of Nations, there was that rising head of the crisis again, the players, as well as even the coach. Yeah, Eric Chow wasn't very vocal about it, but yeah, we knew clearly that he wasn't happy with the salaries owed him as well as bonuses. And anytime it arises, you find Shehu Diko, you find Bukola Olopade, you find NSC as a body getting there to ensure that it does not go out of proportion. And they've really done well, even for the Nigerian Basketball Federation. Earlier on in 2026, they had to take that direct step to ensure that there was that intervention. Bukola Olopade convened the major stakeholders in basketball in a meeting in Abuja and ensured that mandates were being put through, and there was a sort of relief being brought in, yes, to calm the kind of boiling situation in Nigerian basketball. So I must give it to them at this point. They've been very proactive, very, very proactive, and positively proactive, ensuring that nothing gets blown out of proportion, nothing gets to a standstill or a point where we say the federation has shut down. So I think, as they do say, Rome was not built in a day, but we're seeing that these two men, under the umbrella of the National Sports Commission, are making giant strides day after day. So I must commend them for that. But there is still enough room for so many things that they have to do. There is enough room for improvement.
Okay, let's have Victor Buji here with us in studio. Victor, good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Henry. Good afternoon to the guys in the studio. And good afternoon to you, our beautiful listener. If you're going out there, just in case you're going out for the first time, please wear your caps, carry your umbrellas, because it's not joking. If you walk under this for 2 minutes, trust me, your body will tell you. Trust me.
Yeah, nobody will tell you. So you've heard from Victor. The sun isn't smiling. But Victor, let's look at this and all the whole shenanigans and everything that's been happening. And he talked about the D-Tigers. It looks like that's going to touch the D-Tigers. The D-Tigers were, maybe some would say, the level of competition when it comes to women basketball on the African continent isn't much, and the D-Tigers is head and shoulders above everybody. But now you look at the D-Tigers and how this is affecting them. Their World Cup qualifying campaign didn't start on the best of notes, and they just had to, they narrowly beat Rwanda to give themselves a chance. They're still the second window, and they'll have to play all the three teams again. That was Rwanda, Tunisia, and I think it's Guinea, if memory does serve me right. But how does this affect the team? And also the fact that we have players that are playing in the NBA and doing quite well in the EuroLeague.
We have players?
Yeah, we have players in the NBA and the EuroLeague. In the EuroLeague, doing decently for their respective teams. Now, how does this affect their mindset or their outlook towards the team? And how do all this crisis on a current basis affect the chance, or the Tigers themselves, because I mean Desmond Bain of Orlando Magic did come out to say that he's willing to switch to the Tigers. He's of Nigerian descent.
Really?
Yeah, he's of Nigerian descent actually. He said he's been.
Precious actually plays for, is it the Pistons?
Precious actually plays for Sacramento Kings.
Okay, Kings.
Adam Bonner of Philadelphia 76ers.
Why are you surprised?
Josh Okocha is there. Yeah. Aaron Nesmith is actually.
Yanis Antetokounmpo is not Nigerian.
Yanis is actually Greek.
There are reports. I think there are reports.
He has Nigerian roots.
But he actually plays for.
That's what he decided to.
If he was Nigerian, he's supposed to be Ateto Tokumbo or something like that.
Atetokounmpo.
Yeah.
No, it's actually Adetokounmpo, but it was
Adetokounmpo.
Hellenized. The name was. That's why it's Adetokounmpo. It was Hellenized
because he's Greek.
It was Hellenized. The name was Hellenized. That's why. But like Aaron Nesmith is actually of Nigerian descent, and he's also another player looking at potentially switching to the Tigers. Gabe Vincent is also there.
Gabe Vincent, the Lakers guy.
Yeah, Gabe Vincent has played for the Tigers. So I mean, how does this affect? It? Like, because I remember before the Tokyo Olympics, these guys came out and were complaining. Remember the video they made talking about how the campaign allowance.
Sorry to cut you. Giannis was born to Nigerian parents. Two of them.
No, that's what I'm saying. Giannis is Nigerian. Nobody he's Greek by nationality now. It's like saying Bukayo Saka is of Nigerian descent, but he's English of Nigerian descent.
He's still in Nigerian.
So I mean, with the shenanigans and the mess going on, I mean, is this enough to actually bring a lot of these guys back? Because after that ban from Sunday, a lot of them said anything with the Tigers we not do again, and it sort of affected the performance of our team. We go to the Euro League. Jordan Warrer is doing well in Krivena's Vesda. Resta Belgrade is one of the best teams in the Euro League. You also have Mega Izundu there, Chinedu Izundu. Sorry, you have a lot of other players playing across the Euro League and playing so well. Chimeze Metu was in Barcelona, just left the Barcelona side. So I mean, how do this crisis get to affect this team, the Tigers especially, what main focus for today? And I mean, do you think with this crisis that these guys potentially having a rethink of coming back, it could sort of maybe change their minds and it could sort of rethink the coming back?
Of course. I mean, it's actually surprising to me that we have some of these Tigers players in the NBA, and these guys some of these guys you've mentioned, these guys are guys that will come into this country and then into our team, into any team at all, and then they will make us better. Look at Josh Okogie, the Houston Rockets guy. He's actually starting. You could say Fred VanVleet has been injured all season, and maybe if there was Fred VanVleet, their backcourt could be VanVleet and Amen Thompson, and then now VanVleet is not available. Okogie is actually starting. He's a good shooter. He might not be a good shooter as Kevin Durant, but he's actually a good shooter and moves the ball very well as well. Gabe Vincent, even though he's not starting for the Lakers, Desmond Bain has one of the lengthiest wingspan in the NBA for a player under 6'2". I think his wingspan is around 6'8" or 6'9", 6'11" or 6'10" thereabout. These guys are guys that will come into our team and will easily change our team. And it still go back to the crisis we have. Today you will be the president, and then it just goes into too many levels. Now let's look at the NBA. The NBA is not really controlled by the American government. There is actually some sort of independence from the NBA and every other sector in the United States. Why? Because they need that independence, and that independence from government to actually work well. The same thing in the Premier League. The Premier League, the FA doesn't really answer to the government. They also have their own part to take. So whatever happens in the government and the kind of politics they play, they ensure that on the pitch or on the court, these things, they make sure they stay away. When guys have gambling issues like of Terry Rozier had recently, they make it quietly, but they'll make it quietly in a way whereby it doesn't affect the on-court activities. But here it's different. I mean, today you want to be the president. Sheikh Udiko, I've been hearing of Sheikh Udiko for the past years now, and our football, our sports is not going anywhere. The other guy you mentioned, Tijani Uma, right? Tijani Uma and Musa Kida. These guys have been here for a long while, and we've not seen any progress in our sports. The Tigers are supposed to win the bar by now, and there are so many questions we haven't asked. How come we don't get to host the bar right in Nigeria? We get to host it only in North Africa and in other parts of Africa. But it's because we don't have the political structure, first of all, to work in. Every time there is chaos, those chaos will definitely transcend into the pitch and into the court. So it's not a problem that is going anytime soon. But we hope that things get to change. But as long as these political issues, they get to happen, and we don't find a way to create that fine line between government, politics, and on-court, on-pitch activities, we'll never make any progress.
But I mean, Benjamin, let me come over to you now. Let's say this issue is resolved. They would get these guys on the court. Can we salvage? Because he's actually talking about in view of the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. Now, by the look of the Olympic qualifiers for Africa hasn't started, but the World Cup is also another avenue to actually qualify for the Olympics when it comes to national team basketball. By the looks of things, we might not even be going to the World Cup. We still have to find a way in the next round. Beat Tunisia, Guinea, and Rwanda. Tunisia and Guinea, we lost to Guinea. We actually lost to Guinea. So now, how do we get past this mess? Get these guys in, or we still work with the guys that persecuted the AfroBasket and the first round of the World Cup qualifiers?
Well, I think see, we are supposed for options. That's one thing about Nigeria. We've got options, home and abroad. But one thing that is lacking in our setup is the administrative setup. That's what Victor is, I think, is trying to talk about. The administrative setup is an issue. You know, today it's Musa Kida. At some point, we were banned. When we had that issue, the MBDF, Musa Akida, and what's his name now, you know, we were banned at some point. So I feel that it's not about getting these players. These players are willing to switch allegiance, you know, any day, time. It's about putting the right prospect, the right things in place administratively and facility-wise, what have you. So it's like you're used to playing where your salaries are not being owed, you know, and then you come to Nigeria. One thing that is really disturbing our sports growth or development is monetary issues. You know, allowances, payment of allowances today, tomorrow you get to hear that these players they've not been paid. These allowances here, backdated things and all that issues, off-court issues. So I feel, yeah, we could actually get these players to come in and you know, help us qualify for the World Cup, even if the Olympic qualifiers have not started yet. It's still in view. You know, these are heads playing in the echelon of basketball. You know, we look at the NBA as the echelon of basketball. So if these players are playing there, they've got the experience and what it takes to actually prosecute these games and then give us good results. But again, it's about putting our hearts together. That's one key thing. Administrative-wise, we are very, very far, you know, in terms of this, and then we get to do the elections. Let's pray that we get past these election issues, and then we get a new basketball federation chairman. We get a new MBF have a new chairman. Good, that's good. So how about the future occurrences where these players get to the old salaries and other things? So before switching allegiance, you know, these players get to do a background check. You know, it's not about, that's why you see players tell you, you're not ready to switch, you're not ready to switch. It's not that they are not ready, but there are some things that are not really clear to them, you know, before they start making that switch. So we need to put our hearts together before we get these players. These players are ready and willing to actually come in at any time to come work, to come help, you know, in their own right and in their own ways, what they can do to see how the country gets, you know, covered in glory. But the administrators, have they done their part? Is the house clear enough for these players to come? Because it's going to be painful when these players come and then we start hearing other things like bonuses, allowances, this, that. It will discourage the other players from coming. The other players that want to switch their allegiance from coming. So I feel that we should put our house together, and then the players are willing any day, anytime to actually come and help us with their own rights.
Well, we do have a lot. Ayo Dosumu of Chicago Bulls is actually of Nigerian descent. Zeke Najo of Denver Nuggets. I mean, there are a lot of them. Desmond Bain has expressed interest in switching allegiance, and yeah, he's been talking to a lot of the other guys. And there's also Aaron Smith here, who is also one of those other players being looked at the end of the day. But I mean, how will the issues around the NBBF actually affect the D Tigers and the potential of having this guy switch? Having the other ones we know were used to actually come back into the D Tigers fold. Josh Okoye is still thumbs up. He's still thumbs up for the team. But I mean, you just have to say a lot has been going on as regards the D Tigers, and it's not really been the best of periods since after winning the AfroBasket in 2015 and coming second to Tunisia in the finals in 2017. 0701 933 9962 0701 933-9962. And from there, let's head over to talk about the NBA on the show this morning. And Victor, I'll come over to you and I'll start off. Let's just start off from the. Some people say it's not important. It's the All-Stars game before we actually go to some of the on-court matters. Some people just deem it as fans voted based on popularity. But I mean, some people say there are a lot of shockers, or some people might say there are a lot of changes that they didn't really see coming, like LeBron not being a starter. Although some would say from last season, LeBron's numbers have actually been dwindling and he's been dropping. But I mean, let's just run through the starters quickly. For the Western Conference, beg your pardon, Steph Curry is still there of the Golden State Warriors. We have Doncic, who has been quite instrumental for the Lakers since that mid-season trade last season. We have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Oklahoma City Thunder, some say star man of that OKC team, Nikola Jokic of Denver Nuggets, and Victor Wembanyama of San Antonio Spurs. Is that an okay starting
in basketball, I think that's an okay starting lineup. Jokic at the power forward, and then Victor Wembanyama in the center. Anybody can play the small forward position, and then can actually switch between Steph and Luka in those positions. But coming into this year, the All-Star selections we actually changed the format for it. We changed from being voted by positions to just a general vote where everybody gets to vote. That's why you have 3 guards in that lineup. There's supposed to be 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 center. When you look at the lineup, there are 2 centers and 3 guards, 1 shooting guard. No, 3-point guards and 2 centers. So it's just a matter of everybody just go out there, and then the likes of Steph Curry got third overall highest vote, behind Luka and I think Giannis in the Eastern Conference that got ahead of Steph. Steph is supposed to be there. Before it was announced, he was actually averaging 28 points per game and 4.9 assists. Then SGA is supposed to be there. He's the MVP. He's supposed to be the MVP this year. Luka averages 33 points per game, so Luka is supposed to be there. And then Nikola Jokic before his injury was actually the best player in the league, so he gets to be there. Victor Wembanyama, this season, he's been a monster, even when he comes from the bench for San Antonio Spurs. So I think these guys, they have all merited that position. If it was a situation where you get to pick according to positions, let's say Ola said, okay, maybe Steph won't be there because in that position. Luka and SGA has been playing better than him this season, but it's Steph. It's 7 years, and then the man is still putting performances. That could be the only comma in that lineup. But if you ask me, I would say Steph deserves it.
For the Eastern Conference, is Giannis Antetokounmpo, like he did mention, might get second highest amount of votes of the Milwaukee Bucks. There's Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics, Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks. We also have Kate Cunningham of Detroit Pistons and Tyrese Maxey of Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think anybody can argue about this.
No. Maxey, Cunningham, these guys have been running their teams offense all season. Even for Maxey, even when Embiid was injured, Embiid and Paul were injured from the starting of the season. This man and Edgecombe have been the one lifting that Philadelphia 76ers team. Cunningham is supposed to be there. I think he's actually the best point guard in the East right now. The next guy, Jaylen Brown, in absence of Jason Tatum, has actually stepped up. That's right, or lifted that 69 straight 30-point game, only 3 behind Larry Bird in Celtics history. So he's supposed to be there as well. These guys are all merited. Yes, you could say there are no bigs in that lineup, but when you look at it, Giannis is the all-star of the East himself, so you can actually miss out Giannis being there. So that lineup is actually perfect. Yes, in the basketball sense, there might be some errors there, but you can throw that to the performance of these guys all season long.
Okay, now let's go down to what has been going on in the regular season. I want to start from the Eastern Conference, and I want to start from one thing. I think the Pistons are done shocking us for this season where they find themselves. I think we can sort of, we're used to living with that now. But I think one other team that maybe some would say have really stepped up or done beyond expectations has been the Celtics.
Of course.
Tatum injured, not yet back, and we also the trades that happen around that team, how young the team is now. Although you still have someone like Jaylen Brown around, but it just felt like this was a season that they planned to tank, or they planned not much expectations.
But it could also go back to the East being labeled as a weak league now.
But you have to look at a lot of guys left. A lot of the big names.
Yes, Kristaps Porzingis was traded.
Yes,
Drew Holiday as well was traded. There's one other guy that was traded as well. But they still have players. They still have some good basketballers now. Jaylen Brown, like we mentioned, is almost averaging 30 points this season. The guy they got from Portland, the smaller guy they got from Portland, I think Simmons, is averaging 19 points. Not 19 points, around 15 points a game from the bench. They still have Derrick White. Who is actually a good defender. There are some other guys, Sam House as well. They still kept a bunch of their core. Yes, they lost. They are big in terms of Kristaps Porzingis. Lost a very good point guard and defender in Drew Holiday. Lost Jason Tatum to injuries as well, ACL injury. But this team still have some players that from last season that actually
Pritchard is still there.
Pritchard is starting point guard this season alongside Derrick White. So even in the addition of Anthony Simmons as well, recently he got a 39 points game from the bench. Not as if he was a starter from the bench. And while he was at Portland, he was actually a very good player then at Portland before he was being traded to the Boston Celtics. And that trade mix of that. So Kristaps Porzingis being traded to the Atlanta Hawks. Yes, Porzingis and their core and some other guys helped them win the championship. But the East is not that kind of league where you say the quality is just too much. Look at Giannis and the Bucks; they're still struggling as well. So yes, they lost players. We all agree to injuries and then the trade. Those trades they made, it's not as if they were forced. They were forced to make the trade, but they couldn't pay for most of those max contracts, and they had to let some of them go. Yes, they've been doing well. Their coach Joe Mazzulla, who was the replacement of the Nigerian
Ime
Udoka. The man has been really doing well since he won that championship. So he's been keeping that team in Inter, but they still have those players. They still have Jalen Brown, Pitchard, Derek White. These guys are still there. Even with the addition of Finn Simmons as well, good scorers in that team. So maybe no surprises, but they've actually beaten expectations this season.
Do you think they are one of the things you're looking at? You're saying maybe. Yeah, we all talk about regular season form. We talk about playoff teams being playoff teams. There are one of the things in the South Conference you're looking at, and you're always saying, especially in the last couple of years, their playoff team also as well. They know how to play the playoffs as well. Now, are you looking at them and saying, maybe this is just a regular season, and when we get to the playoffs, that we will probably see something different?
No. Those guys are playoff performers. So Jalen Brown won the championship, then Derek White. Those guys won the championship. So if they get to playoff, you have about third playing, seventh or eighth there, about or fifth. You might get good matchups. It's all about matchups. When you get the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons, are younger guys that can run you down the course for 48 minutes, you definitely have problems if you don't have the right score of your team. Going forward, if they get the right matchups, if they get those matchups that can easily get them over the line, then they can get to the playoffs and even the Eastern Conference Finals. But right now, I see them making it through easily to the playoffs without any stress at all.
Okay, Boston Celtics, some would say, surprisingly second in the standings of the Eastern Conference. And from there, you talked about that in the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, they're actually 11th, and they're out of playing positions.
Yeah, it's nice for Giannis.
No, but yeah, you might talk about for Giannis. Yes, he's lost some of his wingman over the years. Chris Middleton left, and Drew Holiday also left as well. So I mean, it just feels like some of the other trades have been quite disappointing. Kyle Kuzma hasn't. Yeah. So obviously hasn't lived up to expectations since he actually came into the side. You also have to look at the side, likes of Kevin Porter Jr. You have to look at the likes of Miles Turner. Like, it just feels like the weight is so much on Giannis' shoulders that the supporting cast just isn't helping matters for him. And there's that question about the balance in Milwaukee this season. There's that question about the balance in Milwaukee this season that just feels they haven't gotten it right so far this season.
Henry, there are so many pieces missing in that Milwaukee Bucks team. First of all, when you have a coach like Doc Rivers, who's one of the best coaches in the history of the NBA, and you can't get the results. His assistant is actually Davin Ham, who coached the Lakers as well. And then you look at these guys. These guys are supposed to get you to eight playing position, to the least playing position, even with the worst of players. Now let's go to the team. Giannis is meant to play power forward and center at the same time because they don't have a center. Since losing Brook Lopez, they've not gotten a good center to replace Brook Lopez. Coming to this season, they lost Damian Lillard to ACL. If Lillard was in that team, things would have been different. Then they got Miles Turner. Miles Turner was brought in to play in that center position and relieve some of those defensive duties of Giannis, but the man can't rebound. He can't be almost a 7-footer, and then every night you're out there averaging 3 to 4 rebounds per game. If you're a 7-footer, you should average at least 11-12 rebounds per game. And most of those rebounds, especially offensive rebounds, that actually win you games. And Miles Turner have not been doing that. And don't forget, he's a mass contract, $240 million for the entirety of his Milwaukee Bucks contract. Same reason he was let go by the Indiana Pacers. The new center for the Indiana Pacers, Jay Huff, has been doing excellent work for the Indiana Pacers this season, despite their core as well being injured or not being available. So they need a point guard, first of all, to replace Damian Lillard. Ryan Rollins, the former Golden State Warriors guard, has not lived up to that expectation. They also need good shooting guards. Kyle Kuzma, like you mentioned as well, have not lived up to the expectation. So these guys, they just depend on Giannis to get the rebounds, Giannis to get the buckets, Giannis to get assists, Giannis to get everything. And once all the weight is on Giannis, every attention focuses on Giannis. Inside the rim or inside the paint, what do you expect? Spaces outside of the perimeters for good shooters to take their shots. But these guys don't have it. Ryan Rollins is not the best of shooters. Neither is Kyle Kuzma. And even their bench players as well. So they need to step up. They need to get good trades. The trade deadline doesn't come until February. So there's a lot of time to get a new point guard, good shooting guards, and a good center to actually replace my Turner, or they get my Turner traded. There are rumors that Giannis might get traded.
And that's why I was coming to, because I mean, at the start of the season, that rumor was there. Yeah. It sort of died down. Now we're halfway through the season, and the rumor is around. It's around. It's over around, and especially when it's like the poor form of the team so far this season. Because Giannis will probably looking at his chances and saying, "I need it again."
True.
So I can't just keep on staying with this rot. That's the Milwaukee Bucks at this point. But you're not guaranteed what is around the squad that they will get next season.
True. Now, Giannis should get it. If I'm Giannis, you should get it. You can't be Giannis at the talking about. He was once the MVP of 2 straight seasons. Not so many players have done that in this of the NBA. He needs a trade. Miami Heat, Golden State Warriors. Right now, they don't have Jimmy Butler. They need a new star next to Steph. So many things in the league right now. Even the Celtics as well could get some of their picks and get Giannis. If Giannis remains to that Celtics Bucks team, what's the guarantee that they get to make the playing, not even the playoffs, the playing this season? It's very important. And going forward, what are the plans? Are they bringing in good stars to actually play alongside him? He's getting close to the twilight days of his career. He's 32 or 31 at this point, and then you don't get it right. Later this year he turns 32, 33. Next season he turns 34. Who knows, injuries, anything might come up, and then you're 36, 37, and then the franchise is actually looking at a post-Giannis era. All these years will be wasted just like that. The prime is, remember, Giannis is still in his prime. He just needs a good team, good picks, good players around him. I will actually see how explosive Giannis is. Giannis is right now. A trade for Giannis is the best option.
But what happens to the franchise?
The franchise gets to move there. They get to move on. I mean, players come, Soja goes, Soja come, Barak remain. That's how it is. They won the championship, and then the next season, you're letting go of the players that won that championship.
Yeah.
Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton.
I didn't say for one season.
The season actually stayed. He was mostly injured. And the next season, he got traded to the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
So these guys got traded. They weren't replaced properly. Yes, they got Damian Lillard. The Lillard-Giannis connection wasn't really working. Giannis is not very good at pick and roll, and Lillard needs some kind of space outside. He's not like Steph that easily make good shot, or Kyrie easily make good shot. He needs some of those screens to make his shots from outside of the arc. It didn't really work well, and when Lillard was injured, they just had no choice than to trade him back to Portland. The franchise will always move on. They will always get players to replace the franchise. But right now, the franchise player, Giannis Antetokounmpo, needs better treatment.
Okay, let's really talk about two teams in the Eastern Conference before we head over to the Western Conference, and that's Pistons and Cleveland. For Cleveland, it's, some would say, almost a complete team. They started on fire, but they sort of slowed down a bit. Some say it's an all-round team, whereby it's almost like it's almost like a mixture of, I don't know what I was saying, mixture of OKC and Indiana of last season. We know that Donovan Mitchell is the star man. He's the man that gets you the points, but you have other players, even some of the bench players turning up. Barry Lonzo has been.
It's been a bench one.
It's been a bench one, but we get that. But I mean, we have other players around the team from the bench actually coming up and actually putting in their own fair share. But Mitchell definitely the main man. And for the Pistons, I mean, nobody expected them to be here. There were having questions of that, whether they will make the playoff. But somehow they just keep on defining odds so far in the regular season.
For Cleveland, it's actually for Cleveland Cavaliers, it's actually surprising for me. Last season, I'll keep saying they had an outstanding record. Last season, they went on a 15-game winning streak twice. Last season, before they actually flattered to be in the playoffs. This season they're playing 27-20, and they just can't get things right. Anytime they win is when you see Donovan Mitchell scoring over 30 points, 48 points, or 40 points. Whenever Donovan Mitchell scores under 20 points, they get to lose.
And that's what I'm saying is a defensive issue.
No, yes, defense, but offense is actually important as well. There is no second scorer to Donovan Mitchell. When you talk about Lonzo, but Lonzo is supposed to be the pass-first type of point guard to actually leave those creativities of likes of Darius Garland. Garland is not much of a scorer like Mitchell. Mobley is not a scorer. Neither is a center, Allen. These guys actually need to get that go in right and get the buckets, but they're not getting the buckets. If they get a next scorer, Giannis could actually fit into that team. It could be Giannis and Allen, Giannis and Allen in front court, or Giannis and Mobley to give them those defense. Giannis gets you those buckets and points. If there's no second scorer to Donovan Mitchell, this Cleveland Cavaliers team will always be as either they get a good regular season performance and then flatter to the season in playoffs, or they just find a way to struggle in the regular season. But there is no offense. Yes, there is defense. Allen and Mobley. Mobley was one defensive player of the year just 2 seasons ago. Allen has been one of the best centers in the East. Mitchell has been one of the best shooting guards in the league for the past 4 to 5 years. Same as Garland being best point guard in the East. But you need buckets. You don't just need buckets. You need 30 points per game players, and that's what the Cavaliers are lacking at this point.
Okay, now let's head over to the Western Conference, and we'll start off from the number one team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's still an SGA show so far this season. Yeah, Darren Fox actually tried. He's averaging about 20 points.
For Spurs.
For Spurs, big part about I meant to start with San Antonio Spurs, the team that has been performing so well this regular season. They did tank last season. Yes.
The time because when he was
they tanked last season, but I mean it just feels like a team reborn. Actually, second on the Western Conference. Darren Fox has actually been fantastic. Man, averaging about 20 points per game this season. When some are saying defensive player of the season in the whole NBA, and like it just been like it's the Wemby team, but it just feels like they've actually found that balance now this season. Or is it just still based on the fact that Wemby is fit?
No, it's not based on the fact that Wemby is fit. Last season we didn't have. Last season there was no Darren Fox. If my memory, there was no Darren Fox. Then he tried to make up for those point guard positions. This season they drafted Dylan Harper to make up those point guard positions. Last season there was just Stephen Castle running the show for them when Wemby was injured. Now even when Wemby is injured, they have Lukonen. Lukonen was traded from the Celtics. Lukonen was actually traded from the Celtics. So whenever there's no Wemby, Lukonen comes in to fill in those positions and play very well. And look at Wemby, 7-4-7-5. The man is an alien at the rim. He protects everything. At some point this season, he had 103 games of making at least a block in the NBA from last season up until this season, and that streak actually ended in one of those games where he came off on the bench. This Spurs team this season have actually beaten the Oklahoma City Thunder 3 times. They beat them 3 times in a row.
And a high scoring Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yes, and in those games were games where they actually took out the Thunder. Thunder will actually lead to some point, and then the final quarter it all goes Spurs raining Cleveland or when they making blocks. This Spurs team this season I actually want to beat this season. I see them going really far in the playoffs, especially if they keep when they really fit. And you talk about Darren Fox being traded from the Kings. The Kings are known for trading good point guards, Haliburton and Darren Fox. And you got a point guard now, Westbrook, who's actually way past his prime. And imagine if they still kept Halliburton and their positions will have been really different by now from where they are now. Sports getting forced is a good addition to them. Wemby, Fox, Harper, Castle, these guys are actually running the show this season. And these guys are the team that have actually laid down that blueprint to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Big up to the sports team. I see them in the championship this season. Anything that's playing the sports in the playoffs, you have to get the guys up. If not, you're getting knocked out or you're being swept by the sports.
But I mean, do you think that when you're looking at SG and OKC playoff time, you're looking at this sports as a team we don't want to play in the final, because if it stays like this, they will avoid them till the Western Conference final as things do stand. Now, you're looking at SG and that OKC team. Yeah, we've lost the Peter, but it's still there. Chet Holmgren is still there. Jalen Williams is still there. Like, the core of last season is still definitely there, and it doesn't look like they're letting them swing out still this season.
They've actually slowed down. They've lost 9 games so far this season already.
No, we know. Yes, definitely. You might say the levels. It's very difficult for you to maintain those sort of levels.
They started 24-1.
Yes, they started very well, and definitely in 82 regular season, you expect certain blips to exist or come around. But we know what this team is capable of doing. We know on their day what they can do.
I mean, yes. Right now there are some players that are actually injured in that team. Jalen Williams was injured from the beginning of the season. Yeah. They were doing well without him. All of a sudden, the man comes back and you expect the team to be better. And there's this change of momentum where SGA is like the go-to scorer for the team. And when Williams comes back, SGA gets to share most of the ball with Williams, who's actually secondary ball handler in the team. They've been missing their center, Hartenstein, who's been injured for most part of the season. I mean, when you have Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren protecting the rim, that's lockdown defense for you. No battle goes into that. With Hartenstein being injured, Holmgren gets to carry most of these defensive duties. Another problem for the OKC team this season, they also need another go-to star next to SGA. Yes, might not be that player to take all of the glory or take all of the balls from SGA's hand, but they need that second player to. When SGA, especially those minutes where SGA starts on the bench, SGA is an explosive scorer, not just an explosive scorer, an efficient scorer this season. He's gone over 110 games of scoring 20 straight points. That's never been recorded since with Chamberlain. Imagine the time with Chamberlain did in the NBA as far back as the 60s. The man has even played, retired, and then passed away, and then see it. That record is still holding there. SG has been the one following up that with Chamberlain's record. The man has been informed this season. There are no surprises if he gets the MVP this season as well, second with MVP. But going into the playoffs, there are so many question marks over the championship last season. If Halliburton was 6 feet in that game 7, it would have been a different series. You could say the Indiana Pacers could have easily won that championship if Halliburton was fit in that game 7. It could easily go to the Oklahoma City Thunder. But the way the Indiana Pacers performed last season, especially in clutch moments, the games where you see them losing by 15 down and then 2-3 minutes to go, they are coming back from, they are raining down 3s on you. Halliburton, Naismith, and Andrew Neymar. These guys rained down 3s last season. It could have been different if Halliburton was fit. Coming to this season, they started 24-1, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they've actually slowed down. SGA slowed down at some point, but he's been consistent. If they get to win the championship this season, and the West, there are some improvements in the West this season, not like last season where there were less stars. The Lakers added Luka. Okay. Luka is not just playing as a new player now.
Osiris is also on another level.
Yeah, Luka is not just coming in as that guy coming for the first time. Yeah. This is the second season, his first full season. The Rockets added Kevin Durant. That's another whole new class. It's what if they keep Brady fit. That's a whole new team to actually take you down to game 7. And we've seen teams this season, especially the Oklahoma City Thunder, down to overtime games. Not just overtime games, double overtime games. They actually need that second star next to SG if they want to get a championship this season.
And now let's look at the Los Angeles Lakers. It feels like it's getting to a point where it's no longer LeBron's team. It's not Luka's team. Luka and Reeves have sort of struck this partnership that a lot of people are getting worried about when you look at the Western Conference and for the Lakers.
Of course, you should be looking at this point. 33 points per game this season. No player has a better record when it comes to scoring than Luka this season. And then LeBron is 41. You don't actually place a franchise as big as the Lakers on 41-year-old player. If not for the fact that he's actually LeBron James, he's supposed to be a bench player at this point, being traded to the Washington Wizards or Sacramento.
Does it have to be the Washington Wizards?
He has to be the Washington Wizards because then you get players that actually not wanting to be traded or way past their prime. That's where they get traded to the Washington Wizards, Charlotte Hornets, and Sacramento Kings. These three clubs are actually responsible for getting those kind of players. If not for the fact that he's LeBron, I believe if they get to find a way to play with that LeBron in their lineup, bringing like Rui Hachimura back into the lineup.
But they've been doing that for most of it. LeBron hasn't really been fit.
He's been starting. Any game he's fit. There's an interview where he said that he talked about load management and then as a 41-year-old player, how he should be able to sit out some games. I agree with him, but he's not been doing that. He keeps starting. He's playing over 30 minutes every season. This season for a 41-year-old player. And funny enough, for the Lakers, in games where they've played better and they won, LeBron has been the best player. Luka starts on the bench. Luka takes about 52 shots a game and makes about 40% of them. And Luka choke up shots as well. Don't get me wrong. He takes not just 52 shots, 25 shots a game. And there are games where he makes only 8 shots of them. LeBron doesn't need that shots to run the offense. Yes, he's not the explosive player that he was 10 years ago, but he's been more efficient when he's on the floor alone. And whenever they have Luka on the floor alone, they get to play worse than when they have LeBron on the floor alone. And it's supposed to be a Luka team and not a LeBron team. And all the court is different activity for the Lakers. They have to find a way to make Luka take lesser shots and be more efficient. Not just be more efficient, less complaints. Luka complains a lot and it slows down the offense of the team. He doesn't play defense.
So it's about adding something or someone else to sort of up Luka's game.
Yes, it's actually changing the dynamics of the team. Getting Luka to take more shots, getting a better shooting. Marcus Smart is supposed to provide that defensive cover for Luka. He's not really doing that. So they need Luka to be more efficient in general. If Luka can be more efficient, same problem he had from the last Mavericks where he takes up so many shots and he doesn't play part of defense. Yes, he gives you 33 points per game. What's the sense of giving up of scoring 33 points and then giving up 30 points on your end?
Okay, now and quickly let's move over to the Golden State Warriors before we head over to the phone lines to get your thoughts on everything we discussed about basketball from the NBA down to the details and now the NBA. Steve Kerr did talk earlier this season. He did say they're not really looking at the championship, but if the chance presents itself, they will take it. Now, Golden State was one of those teams. A lot of people are looking at it for this season. Yes, they have Steph Curry, we all know the magic that Steph Curry possesses, but it doesn't look like a championship team. It just doesn't look like a championship team. So there's never any chance for anyone to actually believe. Some have questioned treatment of Jonathan Kuminga guy in the team. They felt they feel he deserves more. And you look at Steph is in form. Draymond Green is also another player. You one of the old experienced heads. You feel like can carry this team, but it just feels like still one way or the other we've not found a way to get the old Golden State team of a decade ago.
It's difficult for the Warriors right now, especially losing Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler is out of the season. As for playoffs, they don't get Jimmy Butler until September later this year. And the man turns around 37 by the time he comes back. Steph is 37. The problem of age and size has been lingering for Golden State Warriors. The only true center in the team are Horford. The man is 39. The man can't even play 20 minutes again this season. The man being mentioned has had at some point he had more turnovers. He had more turnovers than points at some points this season. The man has been a shadow of his former self, getting ejections here and there, getting tech calls here and there, getting personal fouls here and there. And there are games where they are supposed to win, and all of a sudden, the Green is being ejected, and the momentum of the game actually swings to the opposite direction, and you find Golden State Warriors losing. Here is another problem of the team. When you have a team where your best player is a 7-year-old, and then you can't find a good scorer next to him, there's no size in the team. There are games where the Warriors are supposed to close out easily, and the man goes out there playing 4 guards and just one center. The one center is Horford. The 4 guards, all of them 6'2", 6'4", 6'6", not 6'6", 6'2", 6'4", 6'4", 6'3". Steph is 6'2". Jimmy Butler is 6'5". Jimmy Butler is 6'5". Draymond Green, who is actually the center in the team, is 6'6". And you're comparing this team to likes of OKC, where they have 100 and Captain Stein over 7 footers. You look at Wemby is a 7 footer. Luke Connor is a 7 footer. You go to the Denver Nuggets team. Jokic is 6'11". The backup center Valanciunas is a 7 footer as well. These guys are bigs. When you come to the fourth quarter, when the game is actually heated up, when those threes don't come in again, you need someone inside the pace to actually get you points. And Golden State Warriors have been lacking that. They're not a championship team. I agree with Steve Kerr. There are so many pieces missing in that team. There are so many point guards. There are some point guards that are not supposed to be in the team. They need center. They need a good center in that team. They need a good power forward to actually keep Draymond Green on the bench. They need not just a power forward to defend. They need a power forward to score. Draymond Green just does defense and then assist. But there needs to be that change of momentum. There needs to be that change of tactics. There needs to be that old Warriors era. The man needs to stop. Steph is not 26 or 27 where he can actually run the floor. You don't have Kevin Durant. There's no Klay Thompson anymore. There's no Sean Livingston. There's no Andre Iguodala. These guys are different from the Warriors team now. Yes, the Warriors team now, there are some good players, there are some good shooters in the team. But these guys don't compare to what they have 10 years ago. I think Steve Kerr is not actually moving on from that. He's still in that small boy area where the smaller guys can get it done. It doesn't happen these days. The 3 balls they have, but what if they don't make those threes? In the last game, the Golden State Warriors player, it was against Mars. Steph made 8 threes. The entire team made 7 threes. Steph took 15 threes, made 8 threes. The entire team took over 20 threes and made only 7. That's a big problem for the team. And if they have to utilize the final years of Steph's prime, they need a good player next to Steph, especially now that Jimmy Butler is injured. And they don't need just good players, they need 2 good players, 2 solid, a center and a power forward or a shooting guard to make up that lineup.
Okay, 0701-933-9962, 0701-933-9962. That's for the SMS and WhatsApp also. And you can send us there for the phone line number is 0810-9510-951, 0810-9510-951. Phone line is open for you to call in and air your thoughts on everything we've discussed from the NBDF down to the Tigers and what's going on currently in the NBA. 0810-9510-951. And quickly, Victor, Portland. I think they have to be another surprise. They're playing at this point in time. Yeah, Portland are actually in the play.
They're just behind Golden
State Warriors. Yeah. They're playing, and it just feels like it's a team that hasn't performed a lot or performed well in recent years. Let's say that it's been one of those underperforming, not underperforming, but one of those teams that never really get, or you never get to see anything from them. But I mean, this year it's like with Lillard back, it just feels like the whole setup looks or feels reborn, and I actually believe they can try to achieve something this season.
And Lillard has already stepped up to the court this season. He's been injured. Was injured from last season when he was playing for the Milwaukee Bucks, and this season. The other point guard, Drew Holiday, has been just in, out. Then Avia has been the one lifting up that team. We talked about it a few minutes ago. Then Avia this season got more votes than SGA, not SGA, Kevin Durant and LeBron James this season for a Portland player to actually get votes ahead of these guys. It shows how the franchise have actually progressed over the years. Even without their best player, Damian Lillard. When Lillard was traded, it was as if they were going down. But they still managed to stay up. And even staying up without Lillard this season, they've been doing well. Especially then Avia. That man has been informed this season. Then Avia and Shannon Sharp, they've been the 2 guys lifting up that Celtics, Portland team. Now imagine if Lillard comes back, we know the kind of gravity and the kind of offense, kind of efficiency that Lillard brings to the table. I'm just waiting for Lillard to come back and let's see how they'll be able to combine Lillard playing next. Avia playing next to Damian Lillard. If Lillard comes back, they're actually a good top 5, top 14 at this moment.
So, I mean, what are your expectations? Did they make the playoff for
right now?
Yeah.
They may be playing and then possibly play at likes of OKC or Lakers to see if they can make it through to the next round.
Okay, 0810-9510-951, Sorry for that call situation. We'll keep the calls coming in. The phone line is open for us to get your thoughts before we head to talk Formula 1 and the Australian Open on the show this afternoon. 0810-9510-951 for the SMS and WhatsApp. Also, that one is 0701-933-996 0701-933-9962. Okay, let's hear from this caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, George, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. This is actually Harry on occasion.
Okay, Harry. This is Okim Jr. from Apua.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yes, the issue of River State. I think I can tell you that we got by the governor's side.
Excuse me, this is actually a sports show. This is actually a sports show. We're not talking politics at this point in time. Maybe when it's time for any of the political shows with the likes of we have them. It's a talk, Maxwell, Kelly. When you can call in and air your thoughts regards everything political, but it's all about sports. And we just finished talking about basketball on the show this morning and this afternoon. Beg your pardon, I'm longing for this morning again. But let's have to talk Australian Open. Yes, let's have to talk about the Australian Open, where Carlos Alcaraz said he is pleased to see recent changes in his serve pay off, describing it as an important weapon during his serene run to the last 8 of the Australian Open. It's been a seamless transition for this man, Osas. It's been a seamless, transition tournament so far for this man, Carlos Alcaraz. We saw in this match before, he dropped the first game, but he came back and it was a different turnaround for Carlos Alcaraz. Let's hear from this caller first. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Okay, a drop call situation there. Now, Osas, let me head over to you now. Carlos Alcaraz talking about reinventing his service and how it's helped him in the Australian Open so far. The man claimed another straight set victory over some people, something Yannick couldn't do or hasn't done because he dropped the set in this last game. But the man has been talking about the fact that his serves have actually been so good. And he's helping get his 14th Grand Slam final, actually, or 14th Grand Slam quarterfinal. That's surpassing the likes of Bjorn Borg and Boris Becker at this point in time, and that's before 2023 in current Open era tennis. Now, do you think this is something that has given him some sort of advantage so far in the Australian Open, or so far this season, added to his aggressive style and approach of play?
Whoa. I guess Madrid is a goal right there. Coming in from Charlotte, beautiful one there from the Norwegian. I don't know if there's any country that's got two centre forwards firing on both cylinders like Norway. I would love to see what they will do at the FIFA 2026 World Cup with these two lethal weapons up in front. But Henry, back to what we're talking about here, the Australian Open and the newfound service strength that Carlos Alcaraz has got as it stands right now. Henry, I must tell you that Alcaraz continues to grow day by day. At the start of the Australian Open, Novak Djokovic was squeezed by one of the interviewers, or called that one of the tennis interviewers, and he was asked what would he do right now that Alcaraz has picked his service pattern. And he said, I noticed it, and I always told him after every game, and I've told him that after every game, as every ace you make, you put down my own percentage of the check, and you have it given to me at the end of the competition. But that was on a lighter note anyway by the 24-time Grand Slam winner Novak Djokovic. But it goes along to tell you that if a man like Djokovic could peak in you, that you are now picking some of the best attributes that he has got, then that's to tell you that you are doing really, really well. Carlos Alcaraz, who is very aggressive, most especially with the bullies and towards the net, adding up something from the fray. It used to be Yannick having the better percentage accuracy. It has to do with the serves. I think before now, Sinner enjoyed the 68.3% of all the points gathered from the service line, and for Carlos Alcaraz it was 63.1%. So with these improvements, that's to tell you that he's very well ready to give Yannick a run for his money. Yeah, that's it. He's very well ready to give Yannick a run for his money. The man has dropped a set throughout this particular competition. The last time he went through without dropping a set was in Roland Garros last season, and was able to win that one at the end of the day. Yes, he went from the beginning of that tournament without dropping sets, and he's probably doing it again in Australia. But I think it's not going to be quite easy for him. Australia is not really a very, very competent.
Not usually favorable.
Yes,
he don't have completely career slam.
Yes, that if he's able to win the Australian Open, but it's going to be very difficult. As I said before, he didn't drop. Okay, he did drop a set. Yeah, he dropped sets in the French Open against Lorenzo Musetti, even in the semi-finals against Lorenzo Musetti. But he's been very, very much very much a factor to I confused the French Open for the US Open. It's the US Open that he didn't drop his sets until he got to the finals and got the victory over Yannick. So it's the US Open he didn't drop his sets, and here he is again doing the same thing, not dropping his sets. And as I said last time, he went through without dropping his sets. He won the tournament. Is it going to be the same? Now he has got something improved in him, which is the power to his service, the accuracy to his service, what he does with the service, and it brings those added points. I think where to pay the most is when he comes up against the likes of Yannick, because Yannick tends to stretch him to the boundaries, stretch him to the edge, and then the services would now have to pay in bringing those in between points that could help him get his course ahead. So I think for me, Carlos continues to improve. I'm also looking at Yannick. There is also a huge improvement from him. Two of these guys have actually shown us the reason why they will be here for a very, very long time. Yes, they don't just go and rest on their horses. They make sure that they continue to improve. I thought I was going to see a lot from Daniel Medvedev in the Australian Open, but funny enough, he's out of it right now.
He lost to Zverev.
He lost to Lennart.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, he lost to Lennart. Face Zverev. So now he lost to Lennart. Very, very young. I think he should be a teenager, or maybe in his 20s right now. I remember when No, but looking at the build up to the Australian Open, the build up to the Australian Open, Medvedev just won the Adelaide International.
That's Medvedev talking about.
Yeah, there's that talk from Medvedev that felt, even he said it with his own mouth, that he expects something big from him in the Australian. He actually said that a lot of persons feel.
Why did something big? I lost it.
He actually said, why would I not believe it? Medvedev in the Australian
last season, they would not expect from the man. So I was
no, don't look at last season. Look at Medvedev this year. Medvedev started the Australian Open on a very good note. Even the game before this one, he had to come from 2 sets down. Nobody comes from 2 sets down easily, but he did. I was expecting bigger things, but Lenetienne is not somebody that he's I think the first time I started taking note of Lenetienne was last season. Who did he deal with? Who did he deal with in the quarterfinals? I think it was either in the US Open or thereabout. He dealt with a big name in the quarterfinals. So I'm not so surprised about him. He's an energetic tennis player, someone who reminds me of what Ben Shelton should always do at every point in time. But I think for Daniel Medvedev, fine, he had a good one, but good even pushing beyond where he is. But the truth still remains, to beat has to be Alcaraz as well as Jannik Sinner.
Now, we also have some sides into the yeah. So now you're looking at Alcaraz now. You're looking at the service adding to his game now. Do you think this probably might be something that could give him an edge advantage when he comes up against the bigger names like Sinner or maybe Novak? Especially Sinner, but it just feels like it's the Jannik and it's the Sinner and Alcaraz show at this point in tennis.
Yeah, it seems like that. A lot of tennis players, especially the Latin American Djokovic, would sort of explain to you the ace up their sleeve which they have in having such a great serve when it comes to having that arsenal for you. But you would also feel like, apart from the serve, what else comes to the table? Yeah, the serve gives you an advantage based off on. I mean, is there any little more than the ace for me when it comes to you having the serve in your control and then can actually go and point out than your opponents? I mean, it's more than what you actually request. So Alcaraz having such a serve, you can see improving on his serve. It's something that for him, he would definitely see as a welcome development. And when it comes to when they go and get stuff, in all cases in sports, you can obviously point out some things which some athletes, sportsmen will have, so as for them to have that advantage against opponents, against players, against fellow athletes, against teammates. And when you can once more improve on your own dynamic style, it sort of helps you. So there's no way I do not see it as an advantage when it comes to him facing Sinner, facing any other tennis player around. There's no way I don't see that as an advantage. That definitely counts for an advantage for him.
Okay, now Benjamin, let's have other things happening in Australia. Alcaraz is already through to the round of 16. Lenetienne through as well. Alex, the home hope favorite. Yeah, he's through to the round of 16. Also has Zverev as he did defeat Francisco Cerundolo. But I mean, later on in the early hours of tomorrow morning and some games tomorrow morning, we'll have. Djokovic is actually true because Jakub Mesic has actually cooled down. So Djokovic makes it to the round of 16 without hitting a ball. But there's Lorenzo with 17 of Fritz. That game will be by 4 p.m. tomorrow. We have Jannik Sinner taking on Luciano Daderi by 8 p.m. tomorrow. And by 10 a.m. we have Deschamps taking on Kasparov. Kasparov looks like he might reborn this Australian Open. His life just gave birth and it just feels like he's found a new purpose. Actually, said it's not as inconsistent as we used to see in the past. But I mean, Deschamps has started separating himself from the beat at this point in time. We're seeing a lot of the big guys or a lot of the regular Deschamps team go to the next round. We're seeing them do the business, and we've not really had any casualty. Maybe barring some say Daniel Medvedev. If someone really wants to. Why are you mentioning Tsitsipas? Why are you mentioning Tsitsipas? Did you ever put your money on Tsitsipas in the semi-final when you realized?
And Rublev. All in the same bracket.
No, not all in the same bracket. And Rublev sometime in November found himself in the top 10. November last year. No, on a serious note, he found himself in the top 10.
I just lifted your chair. I just dropped you outside the door back.
No, Rublev is also he forced the record in the world of tennis.
But let's look at the guys now. It's a regular in perspective, right? We're not seeing anything really different. And it just makes me want to believe that this would actually, because usually by now, just we should have some big about yeah, people complain about the heat being an issue and we're not really seeing games turn up and all that stuff. Players get their party turn up. But we're seeing the regular names of the regular people that are in and around. Now the big ones, Sinner, Alcaraz, Djokovic, and Shelton is still very much there. Zverev is still very much a thing of Fritz. I look at this man has a pen chart or lost drop in a set every time, almost every time he gets to play. He's still one of those names that I expect to put up a fight, and he's still very much there. He's made it to the round of 16. So, I mean, are we looking at a situation whereby we could end up seeing more competition from the round of 16 and more interesting matchups and games?
Well, I think they've done well, especially dealing with the weather, because when the Australian Open started, there were lots of complaints about the weather situations, and early hours of the day when I woke up to see the game between Boko and Sabalenka, it was very hot. I mean, very hot. But again, I think like I said earlier, they've dealt with it very, very well. So I don't see anything. But I think the casualties, we've not had lots of casualties, and what was the Australian Open's casualties? It's for me. I think the big boys have been doing their job very well. They've handled the current situations very well. But at the end of the day, I think for next round we should be seeing upsets, because that's what makes the Australian Open very exciting. Where the big guns will just slip out of it the next round, and out of it they are. Where lots of people are actually looking at Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner going into this one. Those are the big names. Yeah, the biggest of names right now. With all respect to Novak and what have you. I think aside Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, the next big name you should be looking at is Novak. That's because the amount of Grand Slams is 1.4 Grand Slam winner. It's no mean feat, so you have to put him in that bracket. But aside the names, the three names I've mentioned, I don't see anyone going into. It could be, like I said, it could be an upset, but it's going to be very rare to see. Maybe injury could happen where we see Carlos Alcaraz pull out or Jannik Sinner pull out of the Australian Open. But aside that, I think we are still going to be looking at the Carlos Sinner final in this one. But from the next round, we should be seeing lots of upset going into the Australian Open for Novak. I'll still congratulate him, even if he didn't get to hold the racket going into this one. But Man City has just pulled out, like you said earlier, pulled out, so there's an advantage for Novak Djokovic there. So maybe next round we should be seeing upset. But for the young man, what's his name now? Ben Shelton. Yeah, Ben Shelton. I think he has handled the situation well. Last season he had a good season last season coming into this one. So I feel the man has covered himself in glory. So hopefully he gets to make it past next round. But upsets, we are looking at next round for upsets to start creeping into the Australia Open.
Now, as I switch up this name, looking at all the guys still there, I think could be a pressure that was one of those winners. Like the usual regular names we want to call Sina Djokovic.
Okay, if I want to look at the list that we've got, we still have the likes of Kasper Ruud and Ben Shelton, but one person would need to go. And Alexander Zverev is playing something really, really nice this season, so he could also be listed as one of those dark horses. For me, Alex is another one. He's playing right in front of his own fans. Though these guys have come up against the giant killer, I call them giant killers, the regular outsiders of tennis players. As for Alex, he'll be up against Alcaraz. So if he can take up Alcaraz, that's to tell you that he could go all the way to win this particular one. And for Kasper Ruud, he's up against Ben Shelton. So whoever comes out from there also could be a dark horse in this particular one. The major names are just the ones we've got there, apart from Luciano Daderi, who will be up against Jantina, but obviously he can't take Jantina in the first round, and that's going to be for tomorrow. So it's impossible. It's impossible. So he should just when was the last time Yannick had an injury to take him out? That's what I'm asking. When was the last time? A man who had an elbow injury in was that the US Open or in Cincinnati, and he took that elbow injury to go all the way to the finals. Yeah, so you can't write such a man, not even if you want to write him off against Luciano Daderi. No, who's Luciano Daderi? So I think he has met his end. Yannick will definitely go through on that particular one. But for the next round, it's usually the big guys. Novak Djokovic is there, Lorenzo Musetti is there, Taylor Fritz is there, Yannick Sinner will be there. Either Ben Shelton or Kasper Ruud will also make their way in. Alexander Zverev is there, Carlos Alcaraz is there, Alex Mino is there. So it's just the big boys in there at this point. It's I think the only unknown name, I don't use that as say an unknown name, or someone outside the circle of the big boys is Lennon. And for Lennon, he could also meet his end against Alexander Zverev, because like I said before, he's playing very brilliant tennis right there in Australia. So it's just the big boys. And if it's the big boys, I don't know where to look for the upset right now, because if Alex Mino takes off Carlos Alcaraz, I don't know if I want to see it as much as an upset. Yes, if maybe I don't know if I want to see it as much as an upset. Alex Mino is the 14th seed thereabouts. He's did he say 14? He's the 6th seed. 6th seed. So now if the 6th seed takes out Carlos Alcaraz, who's number 1 seed, I won't look at it much as an upset. So I'll just say, okay, these guys he just stepped up a bit above his normal usual level, and maybe Carlos Alcaraz did not take his chances the way he was supposed to take them. But for me, I think it's what we want. We're going to be seeing a very much energetic quarters, finals, semi-finals, as well as finals. We're going to be seeing the best of tennis. We're going to be seeing in every arena, every game, as we look towards the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. It's going to be a huge affair. So we're going to be seeing really, really excellent tennis being played as we go ahead in the Australian Open.
Okay, now so to let's over to the women's side of things, and almost like the men's side of things, no real big casualties. Some say Bamira is out, Bamira is seated 8.
Yeah, it's out. No, but Paulini is out.
Paulini lost to... Bamira, if Bamira loses to Victorina, I don't think it should be a surprise. I don't think it should be a surprise.
I think
yeah, she's ranked higher. She's ranked higher, but
I think Alba is out, Belinda Bencic is out, so these are some of the names. She's the 10th seed. If you want to look at it, she's world number 10. So she's one of the Ostapenko is also out.
No, don't call Ostapenko.
Maybe I won't call Ostapenko. Yeah, but she's out anyways. And we're looking for the big names. I think earlier on we had, was it Barbara Krejcikova? Yeah, Barbara Krejcikova, former Wimbledon champion, not out.
My second one to show myself there as well. You don't expect what Krejcikova did in Wimbledon. You don't expect her to in the career. That's it. So it's a fluke. It's one of those things. Okay, for Yasmin Paulini, she was knocked out. I think if I just not up to 57, although Jovic is actually higher, she's still 29 for the Australian Open. But I mean, you could might not be, or you might not want to be surprised by Paulini because of after what she did 2 seasons back. Last season wasn't the best follow-up. And it just feels like this season has continued or started in that same vein. But let me come over to you, Sonto. Madison Keys, after a shaky start in the first round, it looks like she's on track to try and defend Australian Open title. Irina Sabalenka looks like a different breed. I mean, she's taking some of that energy from last season and actually working on it and improving on it. Because usually the game against Victoria Mbuku, we have seen Sabalenka struggle seriously. These are sort of games that Sabalenka tends to somehow find a way to just give the opponent a way into it or some life. But she didn't let that happen. Naomi Sadi is out due to injury. You also have the likes of Iga. Anna Kalisa didn't make it easy for her, but Iga sort of found a way and pulled through.
Elena
Bakina is also another one that don't be quite doing her job. Amanda Anisimova, that's another person.
Where is the Chinese number 1?
Injury.
I really missed the presence of Wei Zhang here in the Australian Open. I think she picked up an injury sometime last season, and that should be an elbow injury, and that's why I stepped out. But I would have really loved to see someone like Wei Zhang in the Australian Open. But that's what it is. Sometimes injuries come in, and they keep you away from the sport. How you return back is just by grace.
Okay, so I mean, you're looking at the names of the ladies that have been doing it and have been trying to show their stuff this Australian Open. Irina Sabalenka has been fantastic. For Miranda, probably one trouble is out of the way. But you're still looking at how Anisimova has been handling the situation as well. And you're also looking at Iga. You definitely do not have Iga in the running, and you do not put her name there. No big casualties seriously at this point in time. I mean, do you think it's shaping up the way you actually expected, that the names you're seeing making it into the round of 16 and picking up places in the round of 16 are what you expected before starting this Australian Open?
Yeah, definitely. You could talk about the likes of Sabalenka, Swiatek, also talk about Keys. Also, this ladies were actually I can't even skip Coco Golf also being in the mix and also heading to the quarterfinals, but that would be when she faces Elena. That's going to be one huge clash to look out for. But then the rest of the ladies who have actually booked their place in the last 8 in round of 16, ladies who will be playing, you can say in early hours of tomorrow morning also, as one of the ladies who you can actually say, yeah, at this point in this race, these are the ladies who you could say you could have been marked before this tournament into this phase of the Australian Open. But then the match coming up between Jessica Pegula and Martin Keys. It's going to be an exciting one to watch because first off, Pegula is ranked 6th and Keys is ranked I think 8th in the world. So these are two ladies who you could say maybe draws do them any favors to get to have them clash in the round of 16. But then you can say you want to see contests like this coming up in the quarterfinals, but so it has gone. So these ladies will shut out their stuff. Who I feel will get into the next round. Oh, this is going to be one tough one. This is going to be one tough one. Keys will definitely want to defend the title like you already said. Pegula is one lady who has not been successful in any Grand Slams.
She's a Grand Slam. She's just what?
She's a Grand Slam at this point in time because 4 years now. There's nothing to show for in all these efforts. But I would definitely want to give back into Keys because I mean she stopped this last year. She would definitely, for me, get away past Jessica Pegula. It was also to be national, and I'm looking already at the making it to the quarterfinals of the competition already. Between Elena Rybakina and Rybakina takes it for me, and then and this guy is one we talked about. You sounded out very very openly right now. Who has actually been doing her stuff? The Chinese one who she faces actually unseated. So I think for her this is going to be. It was about inconsistency in the women's side of things, but then they know how to move past some of these things where it's due. So I feel like these names, for me, Keys and Isimova Rybakina, will definitely be their places in the next round competition.
Okay, but let's look at Sabalenka also. I mean, it just feels like there's something different about that woman this season so far at the start of this year. She talked about a lot of disappointment she had last season, losing the Australian Open finals to Keys. She lost, that was that Roland Garros to Coco Gauff. Yeah. She did get to that Wimbledon and the US Open. But it feels like she's worked a lot on her mental strength and lots on her game. The game has always been good, but maybe some say mental strength has been one of the major things for her. To actually give herself more control over situations. I mean, do you think this although about this is what this will be an unstoppable Arena Sabalenka that either or Coco cannot do anything about?
I don't think so. Last season it was the same way she felt at the beginning of the season. Sabalenka was in red hot form, blowing out everybody in those WTA 1000s and even getting to the Australian Open. I think she won one of the titles at Brisbane International. Yeah, which she also won this season. She won it before the Australian Open, and we thought that she was going to take that through the season because she was on fire. But got the Australian Open, still went on fire. Getting to the final, was able to get it done against Madison Keys. And after that, she also went into the clay season with some good runs. I can remember vividly that she had a very good run. I think in the she won the Italian Open, and that did go very well, even in Roland Garros. But to emotions, she lost the finals of Roland Garros to Coco Gauff. Yeah, and that was a very, very painful one there for her. I think it was the Madrid Open, not the Italian Open. Madrid Open was the one she won. Then lost in the quarterfinals of the Italian Open. But for the French Open, you see it if you watch that particular game between herself and Coco Gauff. Coco Gauff had a better mental stability. She was stronger mentally. You see Sabalenka break down in pieces after finding herself behind. She didn't have what she needed to turn things around, and that was one of the reasons why she lost that. And I think throughout the season, it also stayed with her. We saw it at certain periods. The next Grand Slam was in Wimbledon, and she couldn't get to the finals. I think she didn't get to the finals. Semi-finals. She lost and Isimova, who finally was pummeled in the finals against Iga double level. I think her mental strength wasn't really in for her throughout last season. Yeah, this season she was able to try to get herself in place again, but I think it's still the same thing. Arena is one person that we know starts very well. But what happens as we continue to go on in the season? We're seeing that even this season she hasn't been as prolific as she used to be. Yeah, she hasn't been as prolific as she used to be. If you check her games this season, she's just been able to churn out some of these wins, no matter or against all odds. Yeah, she had straight set victories all through, but you can see that against what's her name, Anastasia Potapova, she was stretched to the edge. That one ended at 7-6 tie break there. And even after that particular game, when she said she didn't know what to do. She just knew that she said my brain was going somewhere, my elbows the other way, the other end. Then there was something she mentioned also within her body, which I want to mention. She said that one was also going. So she was just like disoriented in that particular encounter and almost lost it. So what happens if you come up against not just Anastasia Potapova, but you come up against someone who actually knows how to capitalize on your disintegrations? She only has talking about it right now. Victoria Mboko beating Bibla by her. I expected that Victoria is just 19 years of age. She's very young and she has a lot to learn. Not against an Arena Sabalenka, even if she's going to offset, not in the Australian Open. So I expected that, but I fear for Arena if she continues to go ahead with this sort of imperfection. And she comes up against someone who can capitalize. Elena Rybakina, I don't even want to call it a Elena Rybakina is very good at capitalizing on your shortcomings. She'll beat you. She's one tennis player that's got so much of mental strength where she's at the top of her game, just like Jessica Pegula, she's the same. Now they know how to capitalize on your shortcomings. So she needs to be perfect in the head as well as she be perfect physically. So she needs to be perfect in the head if she would be going all the way to the Australian Open to win this particular one. So I'm not really sure from Arena Sabalenka yet. Let's take every game as it comes, one after the other. Then we can now decide what and where she'll be ending her Australian Open run.
Okay, guys, quickly give me your semi-finalists for both the men and women. Let me start off with you because we're going into the quarterfinal stage now. So let me start with your semi-finalists for the men and semi-finalists for the men.
All right, for me, for the men, let me start with the men. Definitely we'll have Alcaraz and we'll have Yannick. And based on what we're seeing right now, I think Taylor Fritz would make it into the semi-finals. Then Novak Djokovic. I think Taylor Fritz, Novak, Carlos Alcaraz, and Yannick. These are the 4 persons I would want to see in the semi-finals for me. And for the female side of things, Arena should be there. Iga Swiatek should be there. Coco Gauff could make her way down there, and maybe Elena Rybakina. These are the 4 that I want to see. I've not really looked at the draws if they will knock themselves out before the semis, but these are the 4 tennis players I want to see in the semi-finals as the game continues to progress.
The semi-finalists for WTA and
for WTA, Elena Vitolina against Coco Gauff. In as much as it's very painful for me, I see Gauff winning. Vitolina scaling through. Then I see Sabalenka crossing the line. Sabalenka there crossing the line, and okay, the usual names: Sabalenka, and Iga. Like I said earlier, Coco Gauff out. Yeah, I can't really get the others. I can't really get who they're playing. But for the male side of things, as usual, it's Carlos Alcaraz, Yannick, what's his name now, Novak Djokovic, Kasparov playing against Ben Shelton. Ben Shelton going through there. So those are the ones I'm sure of for now.
Okay, and so your own pick.
Looking at how the draws has been and how we could potentially see the guys who make the semi-finals for me. I feel like as get it over them now. It's very well to make the semi-finals. Novak Djokovic could face from Seti, so Djokovic makes it to the semi-finals for me, and then Yannick Sinner obviously makes it to the semi-finals for me for the men's race. Alcaraz, Zverev, Djokovic, Sinner. And then for me, from the women's side of things, Sabalenka gets in for me. Kukov and Svitolina. Kukov gets in for me. Kukov gets in for me, and then Iga Swiatek obviously would go into the semi-finals for me, and then Martin Keys. Yeah.
Okay, 0701 933 0701 933 996. That's for the SMS on WhatsApp. So you can send your thoughts there and we'll take them. And for phone line number is 010 Talk about the Australia Open, NBBF, the Tigers, and also the NBA. So you can call in and air your thoughts on everything we have discussed on the show as well as ready to talk football on the show this afternoon. Liverpool fans maybe in for some good news. Well, reports going around in Spain that they've contacted Xabi Alonso. So who knows? You could be hearing something about Alonso by tomorrow morning.
He's going to be happy concerning this.
Well, just according to reports from Spain.
Even if he's report, I'll be happy.
Just reports from Spain and reports also saying that by tomorrow morning we hear something about Alonso. So, but fingers crossed, we just watch and see how things unfold. Nothing confirmed, nothing sure yet. All just rumors at this point in time. But quickly, let's head over to talk Formula One on the show this morning. Before we head over to talk football with Benjamin Mina here to grab your proceedings. Let's take score here first. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Location. Okay, Mr. Liverpool, go ahead. Okay. Thanks so much, Mr. Liverpool. Thank you so much for your call and your thoughts today. Well, we'll talk about that when it's time to talk about football. We are almost there, but quickly, just Formula 1 quickly was asked. A lot of people are saying the Euros. Hamilton was talking about the fact that this is a chance for probably a reset. It was talking about the fact that this will actually be the season. It's a season. This will actually be a season of his challenge. When you look at what's going to happen with the new cars, it's like everybody has been put on the same pedestal and the same line. Nobody's ahead of the other person. We also, how Williams decided to throw away last season and focus on this season and their new car. We're looking at how we say this. Everybody is looking at this will actually be a promising season based on the changes and the new rules and what everyone is doing with their new car. So it looks like we're in for a Formula 1 season that we don't know what to expect for the first time in a long while.
Obviously, it's going to be a new Formula 1 season that we know what to expect because the flips were huge. The flips were pretty huge at this point. Flips to the car, to the mechanism, to the road, to everything has just changed in Formula 1, including the structure of Formula 1 now. Not 10 constructors, again, 11 constructors, now 22 drivers. Many things have changed as it stands right now. So what more would we be expecting but a whole new fleet? So that's one of the reasons why many persons are already speaking much about this season. Is it a season where everything comes to a balance? I think so. That dependence on combustion has been reduced by 50%. So you won't be looking at how much of the energy your engine can give to you this time again. You won't be looking at how much of the drag force your car can give to you at this point because DRS is no longer there. It's now different. So many things have changed. You also have different regulations right now when it has to do with overtaking drivers, getting past drivers. It's no longer the way it used to be. So it's more or less like a level playing ground. Everybody, I'd say it's more now on the dexterity of the drivers, how well drivers can understand what has changed and what is right in front of them will determine how they'll perform for their constructors. I must tell you because it's going to be needing that experience, huge experience coming from the likes of Lewis Hamilton, the likes of even the man from Aston Martin, what's his name again? Sebastian Vettel. So it's going to be pinned hugely on their dexterity, their ability to assimilate what is right in front of them. So if you're expecting that it's going to be Lando, Oscar, and system.
But do you think it's actually be quite a crazy season and it actually tests who is actually the better? No, fair, but there are actually a lot of different drivers. Looking at Lando and Oscar, looking at Verstappen, there's a Sebastian Vettel there, there's a Lewis Hamilton there. I think these are guys a lot of people actually want to look at as one of the top drivers. You still have Charles Leclerc there. George Russell has shown a lot of promise. What's his name?
It's not Sebastian Vettel. It's Fernando Alonso.
Fernando Alonso, so two-time Formula 1 champion. You're looking at the man that came back now. What's his name now?
Sergio Perez and the former Mercedes man.
Valtteri Bottas. So does it look like we could probably be down to a situation where it's shows what we're looking at with the better driver, like how you can give an advantage with the better driver.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to go down to who is actually the better driver for this season, who can actually look at the changes and switch the changes to their favor, who can glide upon these new changes at this point. It's not going to be a season for rookies. It's not going to be a season for rookies. It's going to be a season for the level-headed ones, the ones that understand or have been there in the game and understand how things can flip as much as possible. So it's going to be a Formula 1 season that I want to really see exactly what could be coming from this one. And the man Lewis Hamilton is one person that I feel should capitalize on this because drivers are yet to set in. I can remember 2010 FIFA World Cup, people always use football as a point to explain. When the Jabulani came, nobody understood it. They go forward and quickly picked the Jabulani and decided to become a master of the Jabulani. And before what could know what's happening, he was scoring goals left, right, and center, and everyone was like, "Are you sure you're the person that made this ball?" So it's exactly what Lewis Hamilton should be doing at this point because every driver is trying. You can see the unveiling of the cars and the car testing. You will understand that even the team, they are trying as much as possible to understand what this season is all about. Yeah, so I think he needs to maybe capitalize on that, make sure that he puts his acts right and get himself up from early enough in the season. So Harry, it's definitely going to be a season for everybody to look out for.
Okay, 0810-9510951, 0810-9510951. For yes, our number is 0701-933-9962. Okay, yes, this is what's happening in Premier Sports Radio Station. Today, 95.1 FM, citizens of the West of Harry Buenos Aires, Benjamin Mina, Sonto Isaac, and Osage Game, then going World Sports here with me as well. And games are going on across the major leagues in Europe, and we'll actually get to give you the scorelines of those games and how things do. Starting from the games played yesterday as well across the major leagues in Europe, we'll actually get to do that one for you. But we'll talk about it also. Liverpool reports that they might be lacking Ciro and slot. And we could be seeing Xabi Alonso. But before we actually delve into that, let me give you the results from yesterday's games across the major leagues in Europe. Let's start from Champions League. Power Dynamo Esperance did defeat Simba by goal to nothing. Just the open goal as far and as the campaign of the Pyramid as in the Champions League after Sophia and August did defeat by 2 goals to nothing. In English Premier League, West Ham defeated Sunderland by 3 goals to 1. Running Peter Solo, Tottenham Hotspur for them. They defeat Brighton by 2 goals to 1. Having covered good on Samuel Chukwueze with the first goal for all the equalizer for Fulham, another first obviously against Brentford and Igor Jesus. So maybe the team apart from another team apart from Arsenal to inflict a home defeat on Brentford this season. Brentford have lost once at home this season. Manchester City defeated Wolverhampton by 2 goals to nothing. Bournemouth, well, they defeated by 3 goals to 2. A game that could potentially spell doom for Arne Slot and his role as Liverpool manager in the French League. Rennes did lose to by 2 goals to nothing. And Marseille did trash Heidenheim Lens by 3 goals to 1. And in the German Bundesliga, Leverkusen did defeat Everton by 2 goals to nothing. Oxford, 2 victors over Bayern Munich. And Frankfurt did lose by 3 goals to 1 to PSG. RB Leipzig defeated FC Heidenheim by 3 goals to nothing. Mainz did defeat Wolfsburg by 3 goals to 1. And Berlin watching loses to Borussia Dortmund. And in the Italian Serie A, Como by 6 goals to nothing. Cagliari were 2 victors over Fiorentina. They are there with Franchi in Florence. And Lecce played goalless draw with Lazio. And in the Spanish La Liga, Vallecano did lose to Barcelona by 3 goals to 1. Valencia victors over Espanyol. Sevilla defeated Atletico by 2 goals to 1 for quarter finals of score sheets. And Real Madrid defeated Villarreal by 2 goals to nothing. Madrigal confronted the best last round this days, and in the MPFL Katsina played as goal draw with Split 2 United. And let's see what's happening currently across major leagues as well. In the Champions League, Eloy Lupos currently playing as goal draw against the Algeria Stallions in 50 minutes, and Stamina will play Pedro Atletico later on. And in Confederations Cup, Nairobi United playing as goal draw with Assam. Zesco is losing out to Kaiser Chiefs by a goal to nothing, while we have San Pedro take on Olympic de Safi by 5 p.m. and Sigel Rapas also scored to the Oyo of Congo by that time as well. We have been starting to Stellenbosch, we have to take on Maniema, and Zamalek will take on Al-Mashri as well. In English Premier League, Brentford are currently losing by goals to Nottingham Forest. Igor Jesus with the goal. Crystal Palace playing as goal draw with Chelsea, while Newcastle also playing as goal draw with Aston Villa by 5:30 p.m. It is Arsenal taking on Manchester United. A big game in the English Premier League today, and by all in the French League, Nice are currently defeating Nantes by a goal to nothing. Brest taking on Toulouse by 5:15. By 5:15 as well, it's taking on Lyon. Paris taking on Angers, and by 8:45 is taking on Strasbourg in the German Bundesliga. By 5:30 Borussia Mönchengladbach taking on Stuttgart, and by 5:30 Borussia Mönchengladbach taking on Stuttgart, and by 5:30 Freiburg taking on Cologne. And in the Italian Serie A, Sassuolo is taking on Lecce by a goal to nothing. Atalanta currently defeating Parma by a goal to nothing as well in the Italian Serie A. Let's confirm who got that goal. Gianluca Scamacca, the man who put the ball into the back of the net from the Sport. Genoa currently playing as goal as draw with Bologna. As well as taking on by 6 p.m. By 8:45 have AS Roma taking on AC Milan. And in the FA Cup, the Warriors are currently playing as goal as draw with Ito City. Spanish La Liga, Atletico Madrid are leading Mallorca by a goal to nothing. By 5 or by 4:15 we'll have Barcelona taking on Oviedo. Real Sociedad will do battle against Atletico West 7 and we'll have Alaves take on Real Betis. Sonto, do you think we reach the point when Liverpool should actually be considered second slot?
Maybe the ability of managers, you'd say yes. Or not to say Xabi Alonso is available. That's just the only thing I will say. The thing is, I'm inclined to say no, but then they'll go off my head. And the truth is, at this point, do you not change the manager in February? We're already in February, I should say so, because wherever the next game they play in the Champions League the following week, so Premier League up next. Do you want to start changing the manager? What's not working? I mean, they start on Champions League basis at this rate. At this rate, but they are not. If you look at it's supposed to be a 13 game unbeaten run, but a 13 game unbeaten run that consisted of how many draws? More than half of that. So I mean, even if I feel like you know why I say no, because that's not Liverpool. Liverpool will not just sack a manager, and it's a painful part that the Liverpool fans know this. They will not just. This is not Chelsea or Manchester United or Tottenham Hotspur. We feel. But that's the expectation. But this is a manager who won the Premier League last season. He won the Premier League last season. He will find the balance. He won the Premier League last season. But some also based on the fact that he won the Premier League based on Klopp's own team just tweeted it. But now he was given the chance to. He was the manager. He was given the chance to explore this. And he just feels like he hasn't worked. Yes, the players will say it. As well as before the whole issue with Mohamed Salah started and everything. Salah said it that he feels like he has more freedom than the slot than the club, which has contributed to him being the Premier League most last season. All this is last season, yeah. The thing with football is that the script can change in a flash, and that script has changed in a flash for Liverpool. You want to talk about? I don't look at the sporting director. Look at the men who handle transfers for Liverpool. Look at those guys. Why do you think that was probably yes, 100%. Look at Richard Hughes. Look at Edwards. Why look at those guys for the few transfers that has happened this season? Should everything actually go to slot? Yes, he wanted players, but then was there really a balance in all of the players that were signed? You desperately need a number 6 in the market. And Gravenberch was a stopgap. Don't forget that. Gravenberch was a stopgap that worked because of the manager. You need number 6. You need defenders before the summer. You saw it. The fact things were on the wrong side of 30. Ibrahima Konate seems nowhere to sign a new contract. Why I still say look at the directors? Because Trent Alexander-Arnold was for free. It was already a horrible mistake to leave Salah, Van Dijk and Arnold to go 1 year into their contract upon expiration. That was a horrendous, that is a sackable offense. To leave 3 of your best players to go 1 year to the end of their contract. You knew Salah was actually going to go, was nearing this. Salah was going to pay the end of his contract and you had a 150 million offer. You left it. You wanted Salah to go into 1 year, end of his contract without any possible view. Salah wanted to sign. You left it because he came out to me and kept on saying it. And he wants to sign, he has not seen the offer yet. So you intentionally waited to the end of his contract. But don't you think that also be one of the reasons? Because a lot of people are actually underestimating the success of Trent. Yes, a lot of people might not say, I know I'm talking like I'm on the other side, but a lot of people might not want to say Trent was the most creative player. Trent was the most creative player. We've seen Salah's level drop since Trent left. Yeah, Trent is as important as Brian Diaz. Jesse Brian Diaz. Who is Diaz? To that team. He's as important as, what's the guy who finally went to Aston Villa?
He has a point that these players. Let's not make much of it's about Trent Alexander-Arnold. At the point, the development was assisting the Premier League. Luis Diaz brought in that. I don't think people are missing that. Luis Diaz brought in that presence up front. I don't think people are missing that. They are missing all of this. I think where I would agree with somebody is what happened to proper transition.
There's sports planning.
Proper transition wasn't done.
Or do you think it's proper sport planning just that has not yet unfolded to what they wanted to be? I mean, this one has a family properly.
Excuse Alexander Isak, you wait till the end of the transfer window and you sign for a record fee.
They went to Germany.
I'm sticking with that.
But they went to Germany side very like when they wanted to go for him for Southampton.
He was getting big time. Yeah, Isak didn't have pre-season now. He didn't have pre-season. Slot complains about that every time in his press conference. Listen, I'm not saying Slot doesn't have a portion of blame in this. Yes, but I mean, there should be a looking upstairs for me. You waited till the end of the summer. You got the green light from Isak. You knew this guy did not have pre-season. Don't come to press conference and complain about it. That's not on anybody. You knew that you waited. You signed who you feel should be your first choice striker. Challenge that money and go and get the winger. You let Luis Diaz go. Sad things happened. He lost his life. But then Luis Diaz has left club. It's not probably that since Luis Diaz also. Could now who was actually very good last season, but it seems like this season, like I said, the speed of football team. I'm not sure
because of the fact that Diaz left, Gakpo stopped block his level.
You can also say that because Gakpo was not used to playing on the wings before Diaz left. So I wouldn't be surprised that a new manager comes in and all of these players suddenly reach levels that we knew they had. But just like Slot said last season, he was asked whether you play similar style to your He said that's what the sporting director. You get a manager who is a similar profile to the man. We left so that the philosophy of the change doesn't change so much. Slot was similar to is Xabi Alonso really similar
according to reports, he was the first option, but he turned down for Now, the fact that he is available, do you think that would be ringing through the minds of those at the top of FSG that let's not lose this because he might not be on the market for long now that we have a chance to take him up?
Yes, that's what I said. For me, Liverpool is not that club, but then when you look at the market opportunity right now, he would definitely consider it. Maybe I say we're sticking behind Slot because we like Alonso was going to be around for 10 years, but I mean, the script of football changes, as I said. 10 years on that 10 months. So it seems like there's a very big opportunity with getting Xabi Alonso over. And Slot, that loss at Bournemouth is nothing to write home about because you look at how players are playing. It is rather appalling to see Premier League champion defend the title like this. Over 100 million spent in the summer is a sackable offense, first of all, to those upstairs. Does that guy this too? Because you can clearly see Ryan McConnell is not going to sign a contract. He's not going to sign a contract. Maggie was available. He's gone to Manchester City. Why not get Kelly? What you wanted to actually get him in the summer. You waited till the end of the summer and paperwork were not done in time. Deadline closed. You can actually see where this is coming from. Instead, you sign an Italian defender who will go back. So you sign an Italian who has no experience in the Premier League whatsoever. There's a Premier League player who's begging for him out of South London and has eventually now gone to Manchester. You miss out on him. Gomez is like glass, always walking on water. Van Dijk is looking like his fastest time. Like I said, I will not be surprised when the manager comes in and these players start playing well. It looks like Slot is already losing the plot in the dressing room. First of all, with having an issue with a player like Salah. First off, that he's losing the plot. So yeah, there's a very big opportunity to get Xabi Alonso. They might be actually thinking of that. So Slot is actually working on thin ice with Xabi Alonso actually being sent to Real Madrid or resigning from Real Madrid. So to say.
Okay, 0109510951095 basketball for now. Even the potential sack of Antoine from Liverpool and the potential hiring of Xabi Alonso. We'll talk more on that when Benjamin is here in the next couple of minutes to talk about football on the show. But Benjamin, do you think this is something Liverpool fans want to see?
If not for any Liverpool fan, I know one of them that would want it. Calvary wanted his. Yeah, he has always been calling. I don't know what he did. We didn't go sack. So I feel Calvary one of those that would be calling for the head of the Burnley. The performance of Liverpool over a few weeks or past few months. It's been shambolic. They can't hold a lead to save their life. So they get considered against Burnley. Tomorrow they get considered against lower sides. Bournemouth. They didn't beat any of the Liverpool. Exactly. They didn't beat any. And you know, Anfield has a fortress. Anfield has been a fortress over the years. So I feel that this man is a man that would want to believe. He looks like a man.
We just need to be sacked. Being so bad. Being so bad. But that's the thing. It's just now as I mentioned, it starts to come to me. As much as it's so bad, you cannot be a Liverpool manager and not beat any of the Liverpool sides as Anfield.
Henry, the club lost 6 games at Anfield.
I think the club had something Klopp didn't have.
He had that grace because he won the Champions League and Premier League. And the man never actually won the Premier League in his first
season. So a lot of people like Klopp actually built that success. Now it's just like Ancelot's success started built on selecting Klopp left and the most just like flesh. Now he's now being given a chance to do that. From the he
just six hours to be successful player at Manchester United. His first season.
His first season, like he's sleeping like a dead team was sleeping giant. Then like the leverage of time Arteta. But Slot came into already functioning and working team and team that knew how to win.
How many? What was the age of those players who were given Klopp wins? Those players were in their right side of 30s.
No, Salah came in at the age of 24.
No, I mean after Klopp left. These guys are in their 30s now. Van Dijk is Salah is man is gone. Diaz was 20. No, I mean Diaz has gone now from the side. Not the age. Alison's you don't cheat me, here. You're performing, yes. At the end of the day, it all comes to a time where you don't tell me otherwise, but your age will definitely wrong you. Your age will wrong you. So even as much as God has grace, I might I'm not saying this from a part of I want to keep.
Some remember for the fact that the season after the title defense, as much as we all could attribute what was supposed to be injury to Cesar, Matip was out injured, Gomez was out injured, Van Dijk was out. They have Marquinhos in the fifth and Reece Williams. Fabio talked about the injured and we had those two. Midfield was there because of Fabio. So you because of Sabo. So not has full complement of the squad.
I don't have injuries.
It's not injuries, but like I mean at the end of the day, guys also like it, Ekitike, Salah. When Isak was there,
I just feel Slot is on fire like this because he's not even club. Honestly, there's an affinity to your club for Liverpool fans. There's an affinity to anybody who has history with Liverpool fans. That's just what it is. Yeah, I want to say the family club. They have Slot. I don't ever one season. See, I wasn't fit right, but that's the area of life because no matter you be, even if you go there, they don't really know you. You bring success very well.
I mean, it was because I was only there for like 4 seasons when he had that issue. I mean, like
I told you, it's possible in the club. It's because it's not Steven Gerrard. Even with any of these guys, there's going to be I like it, but it's Slot. So let's go ahead.
Okay, 010951095 before he's calling and Elliot talks about. This is where we handing over the microphone to Benjamin Mina to run you through from now till 4:30 as we talk about football on the show.
and welcome to the football side of today's Sports Live on National TV. Well, my name is Benjamin. I'm still here with guys. After the guys in the studio, we'll trade into what we have on the menu. The phone lines are open 0810-951-0951. Are you an advocate that you can not your club and slot should bed? Or is your club like something said? Does Club have more grace? If your club was to be in this situation, like and slot, really fire, really fire, or the fans be talking down on him like this, fire him, or is it because he's on slot? The man does not carry grace, no oil for head. Where he come from? Wheezy, coming from the Dutch league, Wheezy, what has he won? You know, so do you think that and slot should be fired? Anyway, we're hearing rumors that Xabi Alonso might just be the latest money, Liverpool manager. What do you think about it? 0951-0951. WhatsApp SMS portal is there for you. Taking 0701 933 9962. Let it slowly now. WhatsApp SMS portal 0701 933 9962. The phone line 0810 9510 951. Let's dive into what we have for you on the menu. Okay, last weekend changed everything in La Liga. Its title is in which Barcelona seemed in control was thrown open again. Now let's take a look at how we go here. When La Liga started in January, Barcelona were top with 46 points, 4 points clear of Real Madrid. Atalian's return to form was impressive. 2 wins from 2, including a comfortable victory over Espanyol and a place secured in the Super Cup final in Saudi Arabia. Now, Real Madrid also started the second half of the season strongly, opening with a convincing 5-1 win over Real Betis and ending the place in the Super Cup final against Barcelona. It was that match that was supposed to be a turning point. Los Blancos were defeated 3-2 by the rivals. This was to be Xabi Alonso's last match in charge of Real Madrid as he stepped down the following day. Now, in response, Real Madrid turned to Alvaro Arbeloa, the reserve team coach, and standing former player with a deep understanding of the club. He steps into the managerial role, determined to restore flexibility in their Super Cup defeat, but Real Madrid lost 3-2. Finally, Carvajal admitted that the squad had hit rock bottom. He said, "I'm disappointed because we played a very good game." That's after he lost 2-1 to Real Sociedad. He said, "I'm disappointed because we played a very good game. There are days when you put a lot of energy and in the end you are not lucky. You deserve to win, but that's football." The day before, Real Madrid had beaten bottom side Levante 2-0. It came, with ugly reception at Bernabeu, with supporters not afraid to voice that disapproval of recent performance, and Real put Barcelona's lead at the top of the table. Now, Oscars, I'm coming to you now. Do you think Real Madrid right now, what's in the they're currently at the top of the table, if I'm not mistaken, because Barcelona have not played. Now, do you think the La Liga title race it's going to go down the wire and Real Madrid could pick up themselves and beat Barcelona? We actually thought that it was Barca's need to lose at some point, but right now it's not looking that way.
It's the La Liga, that's how the La Liga looks most of the time. It's always between Real Madrid and Barcelona. Barcelona have not been as prolific as they should have been. Remember that even from last season, Barca has always experienced what's called the defensive letdown. Offensively, they're one of the best sides in Europe when it has to do with the defense. But when it comes to the defensive side of things, it's always the point for Barcelona right there. And you know that the Barcelona side also have not got within their use the robust squad. No thanks to some of the financial inconsistencies and financial letdown that the Blaugranas have come through or have been experiencing for a while now. But I think one thing, and I can say one thing, this particular season in the La Liga is not a season that you can give to anybody as it stands right now. Not even Barcelona, not even Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid is currently sits third in the table because of 2-0 right now. So that's against Mallorca there. And you're looking at Atletico Madrid in third with 44 points. Possibly it's pretty far away from Real Madrid is now, but you cannot write them off at this point. Madrid looks like a team that will definitely drop points. Barcelona also looks like a team that will continue to definitely drop points in games to come ahead of the season. So I think the season is going to go down the wires. We'll see so much be put in by various teams. Teams I've seen in this particular season, at least Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid will fight till the end for the La Liga trophy. On a very candid note, I don't want to be biased. I will say, yeah, Barcelona is definitely the one to win this, but I will leave it open because it's a league that would require a touch of brilliance from both sides. For Real Madrid, they're not the best of forms. Yeah, it's not just this season. Season even before Xabi Alonso came in, we saw the meltdown with Real Madrid. The last of we saw that meltdown. That was one of the reasons why Xabi Alonso was looked at. But Xabi Alonso coming into a job that is obviously bigger than he could handle. That's a very big job because Real Madrid is not just a team where you have to dish out tactics and instructions. You also have to have some more than that. In that team. So you saw it when he came in the first 3-4 months of his run. The ego came into play. You could see him fighting with the huge ego that some players have got in the dressing room. So it's quite clear that the job was bigger than him. So Real Madrid themselves aren't very healthy. They also is like Barcelona being sick. And you know when this happens in the La Liga, it throws open the doors for even others to challenge. But for now, it's an open race. Everybody will concede. Barcelona plays later on this evening, 4:15 against Real Oviedo. And the Real Oviedo being the boys of the La Liga definitely will not come to Camp Nou to take points away. Barcelona understands that they will be missing very but they understand that things get the victory, and that's exactly what we do. So I think we'll return back to the top of the summit, but it's going to be a very, very close one. It will continue to be a close one from now up to the end of the season.
Okay, it's going to be a close one from now till the end of the season. What's up, now let's talk English Premier League. Yesterday, Liverpool they came from the goal down to actually get one not one that in the first half, 2 goals to 1. They came back and then the second half Liverpool got one. They picked themselves back, but they eventually lost that one 3-2. Now, so yeah, we talked about Ancelotti being if we ask that question is going to be fired or should be kept. But do you think they should stick to him, keep him, they should keep him, back him the way they back the club, and just maybe from now to the end of the season he could actually get his house right and possibly return a result?
It almost looked like some things were right to the world at the right part of Merseyside when Liverpool beat Marseille by 3 goals to nothing. Then fast forward to the weekend and losing to Bournemouth is something that Liverpool fans are pretty much not in the right place for. And so looking at this Liverpool side, I've seen times this season Liverpool play and I'm like, this is pretty shambolic to watch, and this side is not really impressive. You will not say at this point in time you point it out to be a coaching thing because who is responsible to bring the players to their best outputs in terms of performances on the pitch? It's the manager. Definitely. So you will definitely say something is going wrong in that regard because the players are actually not, putting in the best shifts. I do know some of these players to be able to give. I mean, for Viet's one of the best players in Germany. Yeah. Mohamed Salah being for me the best, efficient player that team can have. Dominic Soboslai also has just been the player they probably can rely on this season. Yeah. Reggie Van Dijk looks not at this season. He doesn't look at Frimpong coming on because you could say, these players should play for that time to transition into the team. Yeah, then this is a title won Premier League last season. That's so many signs. And then you could say at least 60-70% of those players are still there. The only players you take out that were actually led is Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, and then could Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yeah. That is also other players who actually left side. So it's a relatively, you can say, a different side. It's a different side because it's not the same when you don't have Trent, Luis Diaz, Nunez, Diego Jota. These are players who were actually, I mean, Javier is also not in that Liverpool side. That's one of the most reliable players you can actually look for in this Liverpool team. You say, to let them to win the race. It looks a different era at Liverpool. Now, it also begs the question, can the fans actually be patient to see this new side, this different side actually blend and actually start getting used to each other? This new side actually blend and actually start to be able to good on each other. Patience is no longer a virtue in the world of football. And when you are a manager, when you play, you're constantly on the chopping block on the receiving end of attention or criticism at the end of the day. So looking at how football is, I still maintain my stance. It seems like Liverpool will never be able to are able to transition very quickly from when it comes to a managerial point of view. But then, like I said, patience in the world of football these days is really very thin, especially with Liverpool fans who want to see something different. So, yeah, as much as I feel like the Liverpool hierarchy might want to say, oh, let's see how this season runs out. It might be just be one or two seasons. But then it comes to a time where there's pressure from the fans. There's pressure from how you are observing the body language of your players. The dressing room can observe that too. So, I don't think when it comes to pressure from the players, attitude, but language from the players, I don't think so actually has that in the balance right now. So, it's looking more likely than the sack than not, especially when you look at Xabi Alonso being very available. So, like I said, it's looking more likely than the sack than not for Liverpool. And so it seems like that relationship may definitely come to an end if results do not happen.
Okay, definitely going to be showing the exit door if results are not going as planned. Now, Osasa, comes to you. Now, let's look at the Liverpool structure before now. The Liverpool structure is the fullbacks get to bring in creativity for the strikers or the outside players actually, the front players actually get those goals. Now, Trent is no longer in Liverpool. Robertson being he's been sitting on the bench here because he might be going to Tottenham, not London there. But now, do you think there's a change of the way Liverpool play or it's been set up before now? The creativity in the midfield wasn't there, but right now, Solskjaer has decided to bring in the creativity that's bringing in the likes of Vitz, to actually create for the other players to score. Now, do you think that's the main reason why the players are not turning up, or they're not really built? They've been so structured that they're not built in playing this way. That's why it's something that results in the correct.
I think so. Let's look at the club era. You said the creativity came from the flanks. What was Bobby Firmino doing in the middle of the pack? What was likes of Thiago Alcantara thanks to injury? He wasn't very much instrumental in the middle of the pack. You went up to over in Liverpool in 2015. That was really down. It was the Liverpool side that was wanting to write him about, and he built a Europe dominating side from that Liverpool team. He put in various avenues for creativity. Yes, Trent Alexander-Arnold distinguished himself for greatness, being able to do what most wing backs these days cannot do. He changed the approach when it has to do with defenders coming in from the wings and trying to be very, very creative in the team. But I must give credit to the club to the team that was not built various avenues to which that team would use to explore greatness. When Trent wasn't producing the assist of creativity, we also had creative players everywhere. Bobby Firmino was one of those ones that was very creative. Thiago Alcantara was also there in creativity from the middle of the pack. So if you want to look at it in that manner, I don't think I want to say players are not turning up because they lost Trent Alexander-Arnold. What happened to you and Slot making something for your own before you had Klopp took over Liverpool in 2015? He had a plan, he tried building that team, and the plan worked out. Yeah, said give and Slot the ability or leverage to get players that he would want to get. He has gotten some of those players, so he doesn't have any cost or any reason to give an excuse right now. Those players are there for you. Try to build something for yourself. If you're talking about giving him time, I don't know how much time Liverpool begins to Slot stands right now for him to start rebuilding. He's a man that's inherited a strong squad. I'll put it to you, that's the reason why right from last season, and saying that and Slot did not win the English Premier League on his own. He won the English Premier League with the help of the club after he left. And that was the squad he inherited, a strong squad for that matter. And that squad fetched him the English Premier League. What will you do as a manager? That is what he wants to do. You essentially infuse your own philosophy. You essentially bring in your own selected players you want to deliver the way you want it to be into that team. You don't go breaking the team entirely. What he's done this season was just disintegrate that team, destroy the team beyond repair. Yeah, I know you wouldn't have been able to stop Trent Alexander-Arnold from leaving. The man had his mind on leading Liverpool ever since. But you should have thought clearly to bring in somebody who could become a like-for-like replacement for him, at least holding on to the path that you could bring in creativity from the flanks or from the defender lead wing backs. You have brought someone who is a like-for-like replacement for him, even not a like-for-like replacement for him 100%, at least an 75 to 80%. But you didn't actually do that. Man, you brought in Jeremy Frimpong. It's still yet to find up to now. At some point, you had that drive and taste for having creativity come from the wing back, and you started using Dominic Szoboszlai, a man who would have also been able to do what the likes of Bobby Firmino was able to do for Liverpool from the part where he holds strongest which is playing behind the striker or playing the attacking midfield role. Now you didn't extend him to number 2. You just have how many number 2 days? Bradley, there is Frimpong, there is Szoboszlai, all at the right. Now you brought in Kekes, and Kekes that we used to see at Bournemouth commanding that left side of defense came to Liverpool and looked like he's not being well utilised. He's been covered by Robinson, and now Robinson is leaving. What are your plans? No, until the entire thing falls apart. So to talk about the thought of ensuring that there was a centre back that would begin to learn from these guys. I'm not talking about a centre back who doesn't actually know the league. A centre back who knows the league. Maybe he might not be of the pedigree of the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Konate, but he should have been somebody in the likes of maybe you can go out to get someone like Mickey Van de Ven. Someone like that, Mickey Van de Ven, who has played in the English Premier League. I won't try to confuse him. Maguire is someone that should have gone all out for early enough. He would have been Manchester City now, but he also had that affinity for Liverpool. He indicated interest of going to Liverpool. So, but you did that lead until you got to the tail end of the transfer window and you like to find Uncle. And now Manchester City has you were concentrating more on having firepower up front. But you already had a lot of hands that could do business for your front. Yeah, fine. You got Alex lately. You got who gets to I think all of those hands you should have looked into your central defense or call that your defensive midfield. You should also look into the central centre back position. You have looked into the defensive midfield position to get somebody who could also join hands with these guys because Virgil van Dijk is not as fast and energetic as he used to be. True. Konate is not level-headed right now for Liverpool. His head is not in one place for Liverpool. All of these handwritings on the wall, he should have read. I don't know who to blame. I don't want to say if I'm going to blame the board, the director of sports, or the Slot. I know that when Klopp left, there was that what's his name, who returned and Klopp had to go. Yes, he returned and Klopp had to. It's one of the reasons why Klopp had to find a way to leave. So I knew that trouble was looming definitely for Liverpool. So it took a long time for Liverpool to get back to where they used to be. I'm going to come up with Slot and Slot should be sacked because right now, how many managers do you have out there? You have Xabi Alonso right now, but if Xabi Alonso continues to set up and doesn't perform for maybe between now and the end of the season, maybe part of next season, you have the patience to let him continue, or you also fire and hire. Because when you continue to do that, there's Liverpool just get to where Manchester United is right now.
Okay, do you think that Liverpool manager and Slot should be fired or he should be backed? Support him the way you support Jurgen Klopp, and that way he could perform. 0810-951-0951. 0810-951-0951. What the portal is 0701-933-9962.
Let me give you updates what's happening in the English Premier League, Europe top 5 leagues. In English Premier League, halftime all enters. Brentford losing at home to Nottingham Forest 1 goal to nothing. Crystal Palace losing at Chelsea Park to Chelsea 1-0 in halftime all. And Newcastle United at St. James's Park losing to Aston Villa 1-0. By 5:30, the game between Arsenal and Manchester City. Manchester United rather will take center stage in La Liga. It's finished. Atletico de Madrid 3-0 winners over Mallorca. And by 4:15, we'll see Barcelona take tackle with Real Oviedo. 6:30, we'll see Real Sociedad host Celta de Vigo. And by 9 p.m. today, Alaves will host Real Betis. In the Italian Serie A, Sassuolo, they won winners over Cremonese. And halftime it is Atalanta winning 2 goals to nothing against Parma. Halftime also it is Genoa losing home to Bologna. By 6 o'clock, Juventus will host Napoli. And by 8:45, Roma will take tackle with AC Milan. And in the German Bundesliga, just 2 games. One in the 28 minutes, we'll come to playing against Stuttgart. And by 5:30, see Freiburg play host to Cologne. In the Ligue 1, Nantes are losing at home 3-1 to Nice. Halftime it is. And in the CAF Champions League, Saint Eloi Lupopo win 90 minutes there from the club against MC Algiers. And by 5 o'clock, we'll see Stade Malien play host to Pedro de Luanda. Now let's talk the big one. English Premier League, Arsenal against Manchester United. After 4 consecutive or successful games in different conditions, it will be a warm welcome back to the Emirates for Mikel Arteta and his players when they face old rivals Manchester United today by 5:30 p.m. Despite putting the miles over recent weeks, Arsenal have extended their beating run to 12 games as they fight on 4 fronts, and we'll be hoping to keep that going against Manchester United. Having not tested 15 games this time, Arsenal returned to home comfort, and they will welcome Manchester United. Well, for Manchester United, Danny Flecker lead him audition, saw him also drag Leeds United and Burnley before the knockout of the FA Cup. Michael Carrick coming in, it was under the draw until the end of the season, and we saw a dominant display. They won their rival Manchester City 2-0 at Old Trafford there. Their 15th place finish last time, coupled with the exit of Carabao Cup defeat by the 2-side Grimsby, and their FA Cup exit means Manchester United will play 40 games this season, the lowest total since 1914. Well, for Mikel Arteta, in his press conference, he said Michael Carrick coming in will bring new ideas. The intensity rises up. You could see that in the Manchester derby, in the kind of behaviors and games that they play. So we'll expect a really tough match, and we'll adapt to that for sure. At the end, the individuals are the ones that make the difference, and the ones that will make the game in a certain way, and we're going to try to be ourselves, be very dominant, like we always want to impose ourselves in the game, that we want, that's the way we want to play, and regardless of what they want to do, we want to take the game in the areas that we are very good. Now, on the other hand, like Carrick said, I'm looking forward to the games. They've got so many strong points, and the squad is a very big challenge. They were where they are for a reason, and where they are in the Champions League for a reason. So we are fully aware and not taking the game lightly. Carrick continued, he said, we feel we are in a good place and we are looking forward to the game. So it's where we want to be, with a real positive energy to go there and positive. But for sure, we know it's not going to be an easy game. Sometimes how we see Arteta approach this game. Previously, we saw the game against Liverpool, the first leg against Liverpool. Arteta approached that game defensively in the first half, and against Manchester City, the first leg, same thing, approach it defensively. So what do you think Mikel Arteta should be approaching this game with, especially he puts himself into issues? If you are Mikel Arteta, how do you think you approach this game? If I reflect on the games where Arsenal played at home, because that is before that, just like Manchester United against Manchester City at home, you would actually look at being on the front foot, because you have something that your opposite side do not have. You have the luxury of full force of your home fans behind you. You only have 5,000 away fans in the stands at the Emirates Stadium, so you have 55,000 people behind you, behind every ball, and you can definitely see that in the conference where you also fans. And this is home game in the last 4 games, the only team ever in top history to play 4 straight away games in no competition. So there's going to be a bit of exhaustion from the week, and we play on Tuesday in Champions League, so they got enough rest from Tuesday to Sunday prep, and now they can finally show what it is in front of their own fans. Now, if I like the previous games they played at the Emirates against top teams, as they always should say, traditional defense in England, it's all about the game against Tottenham Hotspur. They were on the front foot against Liverpool at the Emirates. They were on the front foot. You can say against Manchester City for entirety of that game. Arteta said in his press conference that what they had done to Manchester City, no team they can feel like safely have done that against Manchester City. So against all the big teams, let's talk about Aston Villa side too. When against Newcastle and second on the log, they came out on the front foot. So you would definitely want to come out on the front foot against this Manchester United side. You have your team back to fitness. The only time is really injured. I know it's my time. Really, because definitely back to fitness. Just back on so you have to have a team who should be motivated, because the quality gap has reduced. Aston Villa win right now. Manchester City won yesterday. You have to definitely come out on the front foot. No pragmatic approach to the whatsoever. This Arsenal team against Manchester United. Who are on putting new manager bounces, new fresh flow ideas from new manager. Michael Carrick 23 players. So the approach for me, which I definitely think is going to be a front foot approach. You know that in the last 8 games United just one win United has had against Arsenal. So this is something they know. This is a game they know they are primed in position to win. You want to win this type of game to start the authority to be a top contender for the Premier League title. Not top contender for the Premier League title. Actually being the side who you want to see your name written on that silverware at the end of the season. So it's a game for the Emirates Stadium. Mikel Arteta, this Arsenal side, this United is going to be a watch. But then this Arsenal side, to answer the question directly, I feel like Arteta definitely sets up a game. Okay, so still sticking with you. Now, do you think Man United go to the Emirates and impose themselves and cause Arsenal some problems? And especially new manager coming in, like Arteta said, fresh ideas, you don't know what to actually expect from them. But the game against Manchester City derby will give you an idea of what to expect from those players. We saw a lot of improvement in that team. Coutinho coming to the team, and the Brazilian Casemiro. It was a midfield trio of Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Coutinho coming to the team. So do you think United will actually go and cause Arsenal troubles? And hopefully they get something that will maybe a draw out of this game. I won't say that minus. He says he doesn't want to expect very many games. That's the manager on side. He and his coaching staff definitely know what to expect. Now, it's all remains to be seen whether what you actually envision of how this United side will play remains to be seen. If the United coach now tweaks it up a bit, but then there's always plan A, there's always plan B, there's always different in-game alterations to make anytime you're playing this sort of games. Now, for this United side, United side can actually hold the ball, can actually clean the ball, as opposed to being, you could see a much more pragmatic side under Ruben Amorim, which always begs the question, was the play-back system always going to work? That is much more of a transitional system, a transitional style of play where you've got to move the ball quickly. You're not using channels, so to say, you're using more of the runners, where you have wing backs, you have the players behind the strikers. So that was sort of the problem when it comes to Ruben Amorim with Manchester United. It was a transitional system. But then Carrick, this Manchester City seems more like a fluid system. It was a very fluid Manchester United side where they had a lot of opportunities in the first half. They had a lot of opportunities in the second half. So you look at the way the United side are playing. You know, the United side are playing Or you can reflect how you play against Manchester City. You can actually say this side seem a dangerous side, especially when you're coming to the Emirates Stadium to play against Arsenal team. Well, United beat Arsenal. It's on paper. The Arsenal squad was superior. Arsenal team seemed in a prime place to beat this United side. But then we talk about new manager bounce. We talk about this United side also seemingly having a breath of fresh air in that game against Manchester City as good as your last game. So if you look at the last game that Manchester United played in the Premier League against Manchester City, no less, you can say they're definitely going to the Emirates to get some belief that they can get the job done. So when you ask me how you see this United side playing today, you won't see more of the same. But then you have Michael Carrick. It's a wise approach to actually go to the Emirates and want to play very expansive. You actually go to the Emirates and actually want to play so as some managers in the world. People said it, manager said it, but this is the best side in the world. So when you leave yourself so open to play against this Arsenal team, who you know can hurt you with any little slightest opening you give them because they have dismantled. The bad game was very close contest, tactical affair. But then just the little error, little opening allows the for Bayern made Arsenal shoot up that game. Even against Inter, against Madrid, in the first half, hit Bayern, but then just a little sweep off. And what makes this Arsenal team also complete is the Arsenal team is on first part they set this team. Rather, there is an advantage that they have. So against Arsenal side, there is the law of knowing that you cannot beat them. That's too hard to break them down defensively. Whether United play against City, it's not going to be the same. But that's defense for shambles. You're facing probably the best defensive pairing in the world. It is a totally different game, a totally different context. Now, the game plan for Michael Carrick in this game, you are not going to be so open against this Arsenal side. If you think the way you play against City is going to be the same way you're playing against Arsenal side, you are mistaken. Sorely mistaken, because if you give this Arsenal team an opening, they will dismantle you. Actually, a lot of teams that really sort of want them to play compact against Arsenal. So for me, I don't think Carrick sort of applies the same system with Arsenal to City. Against City was a dead game. It's a dead game. You should be open. Therefore, the game fast against you. So you can realize that it's different context here. So for Carrick, there's much more. You can say I'm not saying reserve approach, but an open approach. A reserve open approach in the sense that you're going there not to want to sort of impose yourself on this Arsenal team, but that's going to be extremely difficult. But you're going there to get point, distort this Arsenal team, distort the flow, distort the rhythm. So that's the only way you sort of get something from this Arsenal team. You do not allow them to get into that next year. It was much that I got dismantled in the second half, focus on nothing up, then they go back. So you do not get to impose yourself. You just try to distort the Arsenal team, limit the flow, limit the openings. This Arsenal team works with receivers, not runners, because it is when you can have players like Zumendi, Rice, Odegaard control the game. Also, you have maybe one of the inverted fullbacks control the game. Gabriel Silva, some of these players control the game. That is when it spoils totally for you. So for this Arsenal team, it's not going to be the same approach. Carrick has to switch up a bit.
Okay, what tactics? How do you think? Assuming you are Michael Carrick, how do you approach the game today against Arsenal? Will you be defensive? Will you be attack conscious? Will you be attack minded? Will you go all out to get something out of this game? Possibly a draw. What do you think? Phone lines are open 08109510951. Arsenal fans, do you think you can beat Manchester United, a rejuvenated Manchester United? Manchester United that we saw beat Manchester City. Well, a lot of fans said it was a sick Manchester City, but regardless, it was 2-0 against Manchester City. 08109510951. The phone, the SMS, our bottle is there, 0701 933 962. Okay, there's a call on the line. Hello, good evening. Good evening, guys. Yeah, good evening. Your name and location. Ronnie Evans. Go on to the division. This is Benjamin Henry.
Sorry, Benjamin.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of struggle. Anytime Manchester United play this team, it's always a defeated. It's always a defeated play. It's not that strong. But for the fact that the likes of Arsenal have been playing Manchester United, Man City have been playing Manchester United, Liverpool have been winning Manchester United, it's not always a defeated Manchester United.
Well, that's what the fans of the opposite team say, that it's a United team.
It's fine. It's fine. I understand where all of them are coming from. Then I at the back of your mind that whatever big team meets, there's nothing like a defeated good team. I don't think Man City will. Manchester United are going on even Manchester United are going or struggling to battle relegation. I don't think Man City will want to go to the game against Manchester United with the hope of thinking that maybe they'll just go past. So it's very, very easy. So if you think if that's easy, I think everybody's making a mistake. I mean, when I was just sure, I think Manchester United will have nearly defeated Liverpool, but it's fine. But it's Arsenal. Everybody has a good sweep in about Arsenal. It's fine. You understand, right? But I think he will show that Carrick is trying to make a point. I mean, if at all, there's a man with down here, if there's another person who is down already, it's Manchester United, right? So I think my Carrick is not going to want to play the game against Arsenal. I like it because if you give the game the game to play and you think you will relax, then it's a very big mistake, and that's what other things are not able to like. But in fact, where every team players have to do. I mean, the game is not for the Arsenal players. You can see how not for the team. They play them to yes. You get so if Manchester United can come out with a I think Arsenal will have to show them no other shot. That's the end of the finish.
Okay, Nevas, thank you for stopping by with your contributions. The phone line still open 0810-951-0951. WhatsApp and SMS portal is 0701-933-9962. 0810-951-0951. That's the numbers to call. What's just happened there?
Chelsea are trying to annihilate Crystal Palace, and I'm seeing beauty from the man. It's not it's only going to be around for a very long time. He goes away. He has shots. Let's see if he goes to. No, it's not a big penalty. So Chelsea leads Crystal Palace. He goes to me. Chelsea all the way trying to press everything possible in the next from the Crystal Palace. Yes, and president will go right on. They're doing pretty well. Chelsea says they're going to be fine for goal. This is one of the reasons why. And so that instead is going to be checked by Seraphi right there. There's going to be a penalty. The ball coming from Pedro hits the hand of. I'm trying to see the particular central defender there for Crystal Palace. Is that Mitchell? I will confirm pretty soon. Yeah, the hands of the central defender there. And
Mitchell here.
Okay, so let's see if Audrey has got for us there. He goes to the pitch side monitor to look at that particular incident. Yeah, it's going to be a penalty. I'm seeing from this angle. I don't think it's for the hand right there. So let's see who exactly is that person. Okay, I think that's number 3 right there. But I think it's been a good game for Chelsea. It's been a good game for Crystal Palace. They are still shadow themselves. That's JD Daniels there for Crystal Palace. Struck his arms there, and they've been shadow themselves throughout the game. Jeffrey Mateta lost a lot of chances in front of goal, and here they are right now paying for that. Chelsea chance to make it 3. They know what the referee is right now. It looks like it struck kind of tight before going to his arm right there. But I think the judgment of the referee with the what we take right now because he has the video of the same various angles to that particular incident. But if he goes, then the chance for Chelsea to make it 3 goals to 0.
Funny if this penalty man, I think it's given and City penalty yesterday. Yeah, it wasn't a penalty. In fact, the City decisions even against Newcastle United wasn't given. But we see decisions from the referee definitely. And the only time once the referee sends to pitch side monitor, it's definitely not going to see his on-field decisions. Yeah, so that's why the on-field decision stick yesterday when Manchester City played against 100, and from the looks of things, it already seems that the ref is definitely for me.
It's a penalty for Chelsea. Yeah, so Chelsea gets to play a penalty at number 20 for them to make it 3 at Selhurst against Crystal Palace. So let's give you the lineup of what to expect. They expect in the game against Arsenal versus Manchester United. David Raya in goal. The defense line team has William Saliba, Gabriel and Nkapia makes up the 4-man back line. And In the midfield, we've got Martin Odegaard on the side, Martin Mendy, Declan Rice there. And in the attack, we've got Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus, and Leandro Trossard making the Arsenal lineup in a 4-3-3 formation. While for Manchester United, Lamins in goal, Luke Shaw on left-hand side, Lisandro Martinez in the heart of the defence, pairing with Harry Maguire and Diego Dalot making the defence former backline. In the midfield, we've got two holding midfielders in Kobe Mainoo and Casemiro holding up there in the midfield in the backline. While in the wing, in the midfield, we've got Patrick Doku, Bruno Fernandes, the captain on the side, Madalu, and Mbeumo leading the lines. These are the same players that actually played their last game against Manchester United. Henry, do you think Manchester United can actually go there as the Emirates get something out of this? Could they cause problems for Arsenal at the Emirates?
They cause problem. I think Arsenal like because anything that means you don't drop or you drop point break and then it's 4-5 points. I don't see it being like neck.
Many times you that City this season.
City are not good. Arsenal drop points. It's 4 or 5 points. Those 4 5 points. I mean, let's say it's 2 games. We can back to those 2 games. I see those 2 games they actually get chance to come back or cut the deficit. And still probably take it. They will probably take it. Like I imagine scenarios or those are switched. Arsenal that lost earlier against Manchester United and City was chasing them and they had to be for it. Actually cut the gap from 6 to 3 points. They'll probably have taken up for us. Not how we talk about City before this season. So that's the United can go there and get some. Like Arsenal condemns me. Arsenal has to win. So they will not good enough. If they're not good enough, Arsenal they have to make that go out of line. Let's go out of line. Say there's not argument against the exchange of the 6 point agenda by United. Arsenal should beat United. United will United. They will turn up the Manchester beat Old Trafford. They go to mess up against United. They still not lose anytime soon. That's not mess up. This game Arsenal should win. Arsenal has been the most stable and most front side in the Premier League. On top of United don't lose. United don't lose. Arsenal should win this game. I don't hear any excuses for Arsenal. United goes to Emirates and get something. Yes, they get definitely bad. Manchester United, but still Arsenal should not come and start the game. I don't see excuses after the game. I don't want to hear any excuse. What you want me to do? They just 6 points. It's just anything any 2 mistakes United scores and you don't find a way to equalize and you lose. It is 4 points. It looks like a good cushion. I will 7 points. Some points I say good cushion. You might drop points. It's very uncomfortable for you. That's what I say. You have to be for it. Because if it was 9 points, you drop points. At least 6 points to take the cushion. Yeah. Go different games. In fact, especially if you lose 2 games. But now if you drop and if you lose and it's 4 or 5, even if you lose games, they put you by a point. So I don't want to see. That's not no business. That's not no business. And they drop points. That's not no business. Dropping points today. No, they are going for the Premier League title. And for the Premier League title, any coach period of the season, you drop points. You drop points. When against your fellow team, you drop points. When you're on the team, you drop points. You drop points. So if they see Manchester City, that will also drop points in. Manchester City games now. One guarantee that signing game will not be the catalyst to them not stop losing. Don't look at what happened against Manchester United. I'm not saying who's at people. They don't be so sure. Like they can't see that City could go. They be so poor and better results here. They try to defend us. They try to defend us. City have probably better than the defenders. Really? They were more. They made a match. So that just shows you how good this is. That's not what also. But you know, City were Arsenal. They might and this one will finish there. And at the point they came to this second. Let's not forget that. Arsenal must have points in those last set of games. And what City are poor defense. We see sides have been poor somehow. Because they're better titles still, because they know not to titles. This is not doing titles. That's one thing. And something that I've talked about before, the Carabao Cup titles, that besides running into the Carabao Cup, they need to understand what it takes to actually win the title. They beat the fight. It takes to actually win the title. And that's where my fear is. As much as they've been changed, Robbie knows how to win the title. But that's about 5 running titles before. I like to win the title. Even when Media knows how to win the title. Donnarumma, not as big as this, knows how to win titles. Yeah, knows how to win titles. So I mean, it's at the point where City know that they have to. That's the mentality that comes with it. It's a result. It's a result in the mentality that comes with it. It's like the game. It's 1-0. You're losing. Or they can marry the other. It's a side that knows what it takes to win the title. Sorry to bring back like the back people. Like Villa. You have to drop more points. It's one against a potential Champions League team. A team that is not against Villa. Yeah, come on. You don't see the title. You don't see it in the last season. When you won the league. All the points are season. Now Liverpool crawl across the division in the season. But still, that's not against Villa. It happened. It's the game. Because you don't see this is a very social. They got 2 goals in the last game. So what has been like before this season? See the game. Why 2 goals in the minutes? 2 goals in this side was really winning. Who said 2 goals in the minutes? They're also putting this not fear here, but they sort of this direction putting this where it seems like they're not winning their own games. Or they don't know that they have to play more games. Now, it's like the team that who games out than Arsenal. It's not like they can't as a pragmatic team. So see. And then it comes to playing those different sides. Or sell the side that got an old form or look at Villa. That business. That should not be happening. We have to switch to the general side of things. So, what I'm saying is, you have business during the game. It's the game. It's the emotional side of the game. Last week of the game. So, not to say that Arsenal did not represent in that game. So, I'm talking about that's not feeling that this Arsenal team might not go online yet because previous season performances. It's not the same team. It's not actually the same team that bottled it in the 2023 season. Now, that team not bottled it in 2023-2024. They did not bottle it. So, it's not obviously like this Arsenal team are a side that are supposed or ensures that they are not expected to. They want to do all game at the time. So, I feel like at the end of the day, Arsenal team don't know what to do. They actually know what their opening is. I'm not the opinion that it seems like they might or they have a tendency to slop along this way. I don't know how to do it. Okay, wait. I don't think they bottle it. I don't want them to bottle it. I want Arsenal to this season. I've liked Arsenal from days of I'm not fan. So, I'm not fan. But I like what people are doing. But that's the thing. I feel like they should. But the truth is that it's not because of what Arsenal. During the time of Wenger, he has to deal with the pressure that he was not talking about debts. Imagine switching from Vieira to Denisin or from Alexander Clear to Jack Wilshere. You see Shakuta, so you got Politia, he has already less to but so like not better or use for because not better. So you can see the sharp difference of quality. Like I would point out the games against the side. Anything else like that's the point I feel sustain it. I feel so. They have it. I don't think they will sustain it next season. It's not like growing. You don't grow. Arsenal
actually they have the mentality. But like I also said, they need to fight to actually understand that it's just beyond the take it every day and you're going to take it on the time. Because they sort of like going into this game and that going into this game that we go ready to see anyway you that shoot for nothing before anyway after 1-0 we match Samuel to the goal before anyhow just get the one and let's say it's not for a draw. Because Arsenal has to football a lot of big games this season and it's just satisfying for me. See, so to understand this Man City first half is number 1. Man City taking Arsenal not taking so now I want them to win, but I still have my doubts and also this about looking at that side at the end of the day.
Okay, Alex Kabari is here. Alex, Manchester United today did a draw away at Zambia there at Padermo, and with Padermo, and they are coming here for the last fixture. What are we expecting from the and his boys?
Going to that game, you definitely sense the need for all 3 points. I mean, that's stressing on your mind right now. There has been nothing more than 3 points because I mean, you do they have done a very good job from getting points. What can you better with all 3 points? Of course, we know it's a clash between the how we the bottom feeders of that particular group, and it's just seeing who can probably stage and push up in the top 2 in that group because obviously the top 2 are going to clash. They're going to have meetings, so you need to be able to capitalize when Isaac and Pyramids clash. Probably draw a loss for one of them, and then I think I should definitely be able to capitalize on one of them dropping points or maybe not picking up the points. But at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, they definitely have to pick all the points. That's the going that way.
Okay, Obi was in the studio. Obi, Arsenal against Manchester United. Who is taking the? You think Manchester United Arsenal players?
Well, from many Arsenal on supporters who actually want Manchester United for some point. The time for Arsenal to step up their playing side after the Mania and not everything possible to be able to get that victory. So looking for being right at the Emirates, I don't know how it's going to be. Nice team for it, but Arsenal has to defend for this.
And welcome to the final lap of today's Marathon edition on Today95.1fm. I am Barry Alexander and I still have the guys in the studio with me. Henry Ogluwa is here as well as Ovie Wallace. We aim to give you the very best fun you will see for the next hour and a half. And of course we will get your reactions and phone lines be going open 0810-9510-951, 0810-950-951, and WhatsApp also at 070-933-9962, 070-933-9962. So I'd like to say, guys, studio are Max and Nice. So we're ready to get this segment on the show up and running. We're getting into the CAF Champions League right now. Libya's representatives Rivers United secured a valuable argument after holding Zambia's Power Dynamos to a goalless draw in the CAF Champions League encounter on Saturday. Now both teams entered the fixture in search of redemption and they lost their opening group matches. Rivers United falling to Egypt's Pyramids FC and Azerbaijan and Power Dynamos Zambia instead by same opponents. And in a tightly contested affair, Rivers United showed discipline and resilience, frustrating levels and eliminating clever chances to ensure they returned home a crucial point from Zambian soil. Now the result keeps Rivers United in contention as attention now shifts to the reverse fixture. They're both sides will meet again on the next match day at the Gosfield Aquaview, the national team in Rio, where Nigerian champions will look to capitalize on home advantage to strengthen their position in the group. First of all, Henry, I'll just contribute something very quickly about Rivers United. Difficult away game. Obviously, you'd say they are the two bottom feeders and both of them looking to punches at themselves as opposed to doing punches with the top half of the table. How impressed were you with the Finnish George side over there in Zambia?
It got better, but I mean, I probably lost for Ghana, so I can't really from
while leading
because it's good. It should be told is understand that what we have is the difference, but based on what we should be doing and what we need to take the result. Yeah, you go to Zambia and we do and so no disrespect to them after Zambia, but look for this and all actually better than us from Men's Squad and Covadim this drop of the Papa trying to bring us back, bring Zambia back to the Champions League. Should do as the terms of the damage already done. You know, because you can Premier from the side expect that nothing much going to go. So and it's over for Premier League. That's the terms of it. Trying to design present at the end of group some points. There are about 11 and Nigeria then hopefully get the Premier League that was down not really happen, but I just think it's decent. Maybe that one could say chance. Well, the fact that you do mean I don't too much of any distance. I say the end of the Nigeria boys and maybe see the yeah, so I was actually coming to you, but I mean, you already sound like you're not so impressing their chances going for here, but still, you just have to ask, do you think you'll be in contention to probably progress if you get all the points in the best fixture? Keep in mind that obviously Pyramids and Rebecca are going to have to couple of games against themselves, and as much as you needed all the points at home, you get the points at home. Is there any possible way you could use the outcome of the games to maybe favor yourself? Yeah, that's like and if Pyramids wins, which is the Cairo, you're going behind Rebecca. But the problem is it's different here. Yeah, so you just like Pyramids at home. You have to be Pyramids at home. That's push on 10 points. Worst case scenario, Rebecca this year, Power Dynamos. I think they're playing Power Dynamos or beat. Rebecca, they have to like Power Dynamos. Power Dynamos first. Yeah, they Power Dynamos. So you worst case scenario, 6 points 10. Those are good head. So I think maybe you get the score, maybe flip 2. You go through the goal. When you have to do the goal, Rebecca here in Nigeria. When you have to Pyramids because then the space goes to I think I don't see how things will get points from moving. How this will happen. I don't see that at all when we happen. So I think what chances are 0.00% progress is example only winning and edge points in Rebecca. You want to be the most happen. We want to see league and what happen. So it's like okay, let's say you guys are like that's just have to get points. You really know what happen this. Or if it's better to you get the price of cheap or actually but you actually Nigeria. No, it's not possible. So they have to get results. So I need to see Rebecca. So we not saying give us of small. Yeah. And he was not like at the end of the day, the before anything. And that's actually against Newcastle United. So at the end of the day, no. I just think I think that was the game. It's just two shots in the Champions League shot and also over the next season at the end of the day.
Okay. Do you hold any sort of optimism or are you telling on this one as regards to Rivers and the chances of progression if you get all the points in the US fixture?
Well, someone that is optimistic about the situation, I think very optimistic person. The way they get Power Dynamo completely dominated them from start to finish. 2 shots, 6 on target for Power Dynamo. Really have just not all on target. Throughout the game, they kept on pressing. Yes. So I don't really be optimistic at this point because we obviously very possible. Right Zambia, I think I expected them to one of they don't really you like this team kind of FC so the Power Dynamo maybe they get out they fail to do that. We don't have their chances. It's going to hurt them. It's going to be a good match for. We saw Rivers United in the match as they can. In the match against Pyramid dominated the match against and they had one in the 9 minutes compared to so because I remember that night. It was my statistics. It was me what happened. Look at them because the first one to end before I press the button on my keyboard they have issues right on content it's not that we need to work on and every team that we need to optimism I don't just can't give performance on content but the I really don't you see I can get all the point let's not go mathematically they can qualify it was because we need a lot of good at people we need a lot of good at people we need can put to the match so go down 7 points as for the team but that why them and why Dynamo and down points we need to win all our games we need to win Dynamo these 2 games maybe lost one another one transmitting is that weakness so of that United can go to Egypt get the win can go to Morocco and get the win if it's most possible there is more Africa to pass try and get the win so I don't think any hopes for any and United side I think I would really say the done to get the back to get into the group stage I think expected was yes well I expected to get the group stage I don't think it's to try and see how they can keep on pushing for that ball the idea in the end of the league we thought that's what the approach should be as all the resources in right now so they need to transfer the connect and find everything so that's still as in the Nigerian football but now the content I think Nigeria should try to look better.
Alright, okay, so the guys, the only man that is any feel of them is Nigeria and something as they walk in from Castle's home. We need to win. When I okay, the second, let's see all the brilliance when Watkins said and match City on 46 points, they'll still behind on goal difference. But we'll see how they respond on goals with Arsenal. City cover Manchester United in 35 plus minutes also. So for you, how impressed were you with Affinity George side away in Zambia and did they see any possible pop of progression there to win next game at you 01095109510 01095109510 as we move to the Super Eagles. The second director of the Nigerian Football Federation, Augustine Edward, has players for the Nigerian Premier League for Super Eagles session. Despite their home-based teams, all showing at the African Championship in 2025. Now, the focus on head coach, Elja's decision to exclude all NBA players from 25 African nations, expressing disappointment at competence of home-based players. It seems strong showing that for Morocco, when Nigeria won runs undefeated. The former Eagles coach Super Eagles cautioned against using Nigeria's mixed fortunes again in August. He asked for the deal with the domestic league. And so said, players are bad, and just because we did well at Chan, doesn't mean we should blow the baby out of the bathwater. This is something we need to link to speaks volumes when players come directly from locally in a major tournament like AFCON, the 1994 winner to 50 financial. Named between 8 months for the mostly strangers, the men at the right maneuver in the Simon and Senajai, while also making room for fringe stars like Cyril Dessers, Idris Abisamu, Amas Abaske, and Igo Obu. Edward said he struggled by decision to overlook the domestic league entirely when naming such a large squad. I just have to already signed it, but I don't this one. Let's go down the path here. He said there were lots of players on that Super Eagles team that did not get a chance to be born. What happens to you? What happens to you? Replacing the athletes. So good 3-4 for the athletes just to show that they could be called upon. Because you can get so many athletes in our in the years we made such a national federation from our from the if you get better we can more exposure we could see like Mali just raising people in the pizza now is what is West Ham Brighton Leeds so now just for him and because so that's for pizza it's not going to invest in the first because of the next is like part of the future super good forward. So like all the things that they found out if you know what I mean I don't know if they are doing the Arab people Europe is the national football that's the sign it's about that's the truth that's the what you say about each and so you say but not so long guys name them I think that level intensity we see that's the challenge to judge it's not a point to judge you put force to connect and come on this way and inshallah we back remember how I pray his black battle so long go right because they have for the years no Nigeria should be so what you saw what is good in the league if you give the country be challenge but they are the is looking at it but like again because the conditions of the stadium so company very players that people like this is more like the so it's just the it's not going to to in fact is one year when you are in the that's the problem it's not about I quite challenge this it's not just about the league even the stars are just often how they want to make it have been done to this next this is the thing that's about no you know what both is the same feeling without having this kind of in Nigeria in Nigeria we want just 2-0 I'm keeping on because not the truth. The league is good enough. And it's not going to play teams that you so the latest FHS rankings are in Africa and you don't mention about the on combining my game and on channels it look like if you were to see you fully this is not foul the reality of the is the first control for you have about touching and you have put Belgian league the Australian league you put the Telegram I know this one about this okay Russia was still without the legislation as then for you and rally and can not let go all the parties can not let hold your life and then some others because on parties because all parties are very let's be honest let's be honest that way before I was irritated and I was so irritated I saw it was so bad I felt like so that's why I felt like
That's what just felt like I do that. I don't know what I'm making. I watched that match. I think he was showing up of as an Nigerian for constructing their field. And I think watch. Sudan. Talk about from here. Sudan. We see we saw the possibility that the tax is but we saw how the proper professionals. So that's like why we people are really feeling like we can't just if you like okay let's see what it's for me never really Pablo what's that our coach was so a lot of the second of the sources the defend Pablo never really lost he was thinking about the and guys was now let's see what's consistency okay you saw it that's me right yeah 60 wins for 2 years you should be able to go it doesn't like the best but you are very close to most level. I mean, Spain league, not going to pass Germany. We can pass Germany. We go to Germany. Germany. I mean, I know they don't understand. They don't understand push up there. They don't be intensity value. That's what they chant. Not be intensity value. Those are the runners. Those are some that is not the Premier League level of people. So what we do? That's like we chant. How you go in the game? I mean, you don't know. Let it be to say because I'm just after. So those are the bunch of people who are chanting for 2 hours. How many I was in this level, you know. Let's go and get to like I'm not to go as well as the last as I know the organization. We are this talk about this discussion. So that's this is Spain to the college. And you know, the production level that but this is how to see. If this is something the most countries blood gas which is not going to be for easily. As you go, it will just like went down to the I think because we should get this as well as on the political information we believe this is very good. So that's really feel like that is can that's the only way we can say not about history of the you know that's the plan. But I think that's so I have to point so we are of the that's the one people matter on the business. The body is still but some of them have to support that because one of these issues to know and that I think we also we brought it without the using of the first of all it seems like as president like trying but we forget that's how football it's not the same way so that's another thing also you can do the work the people at cool more and it's people in the social so because we that's the do not say some so like fatal it's like that so you can do the that you do football that's what we do it's like if you also it's very difficult but that's why because of the other but was yours and you like to make Okay, I'm just going on to use this like the point section you see after this point time and this one of these comments I don't want to distract the place you want to use now he also did say that within strikes not be going to snap between 2000 and the like when the match against Mozambique for RG over Mozambique we just see Augustine Pepper go argue aspiration for maybe the level players we also have the Salocha fight with player agents as also going as visuals in different everyone spiritual to increase so now comments it's like for extra equals nationals to wash hands obviously those have to do what you do you can see so many demands expect and everyone seems to be most player and all players
Sometimes it's where it's only going to be I'm forgetting like that. The other point is just